Hell yeah. Hello everyone, this is Jose Herrera with the O3XX series. Today's special guest is Dominic Davila. A little bit about Dominic. On November 27, 2006, Dominic joined the Marine Corps and went through boot camp. After graduation, Dominic went to School of Infantry West, where he became an O331. Upon graduating SOI West, Dominic went to Camp Lejeune, North Carolina, and was assigned to 2-8 Echo Company and Weapons Company. On October 31st, 2007, Dominic deployed to Ramadi, Iraq, where he was a gunner in an MRAP. After 7 months, he returned stateside, and a year later, on May 15, 2009, he was deployed to Helmand Province, Afghanistan, for Operation Khanjar. A few months into his deployment, on July 23, 2009, Dominic's life changed.
You have nothing but time.
The barracks where you become a man, dude. For real.
It's true.
A real fucked up individual, man.
Yeah.
And there's some weird, and that is a weird, there's a weird vibe in the barracks because the amount of peer pressure in that atmosphere is unbelievable.
and talk about toxic masculinity.
Yeah, dude.
That place is the worst, cesspool of it. Everything is just overbearing. But I mean, it's why you enjoy living on base, I guess.
For sure.
But the barracks today is nothing like the barracks it was back in the day.
I hear it's pretty cush.
Yeah, hotel style barracks, dude. But I don't know if I could do it. I've been in one of them. I think it was 2014 when I went back to Camp Lejeune, and I got to see some of my boots, and those hotel rooms, dude, they're huge.
Yeah, but a good chow hall, not the Jim Crow chow hall.
Didn't they shut that down? Didn't they shut Jim Crow down?
Yeah.
I
never knew the association of it until one day Hipkins sent me a message, and he's like, "This is one of the most racist fucking things the Marine Corps has ever had." And it was a picture of the Jim Crow chow hall.
Oh man,
dude, I swear, all the on base reject staff members got sent there. I fucking guarantee it, dude. It was I think it wasn't until after the Iraq deployment that I found out French Creek was the jump off.
Yeah. Yep.
You know what I then I just always went there unless.
Yep.
But
I didn't find out
that one place had sandwiches.
I didn't find out about French Creek till 2009.
Dude, they had the teppanyaki, they had the hibachi grill in there, dog. You could go and
it was legit.
And chicken wings every day, you could chicken wings and pizza. What the fuck?
Bro,
there was another chow hall that they did sandwiches like a Subway. You'd go up. Dude, that chow hall. We had the worst chow hall. Was that
was the one over by the was it C Street or whatever, where the gym was right
there.
And they would make you sub.
Mandatory fun day. Yeah. That place was bomb. The place was awesome. Dude, we'd go there. I remember going there with Heath and Rosales. We'd go there all the time after we got back from Iraq. You think you're badass. Now you're a senior guy. You're a senior Lance Corporal. So we'd be like, "No, you boots got to stay here. You better go get chow at this chow hall." And then, none of them had cars, and we'd go get sandwiches and come back and feel like the boss,
Yeah.
But they were great, man.
Dude, yeah, they had bomb ass breakfast too. They had like
they
waffle
did
burgers and shit.
Yep.
Shit was good.
Dude,
I prefer my fucking cheeseburgers and my sausage, egg, biscuits in the morning. That's all Jim Crow ever served. And some sloppy ass spaghetti.
Yeah, they had like, did they have biscuits and gravy too? And then no matter how you order eggs, they all came the same.
Dude, yeah, but like you would get the brown, the bag nasty, the brown bag, dude. And for some reason, like the cheeseburger, like they would intentionally smush it before they put it in your bag. I'm like, how the fuck? You just handed me this bag. I didn't do anything but come back to my room and it's flat. And like somebody stepped on it.
Yes.
Of course. They're getting treated by grunts every moment of the day. Of course they're messing with our food, man. There's no doubt. I remember one day it was me, Paul, and I don't know, do you guys remember Doyle? Big goofy dude went to Echo. He ended up blowing out his knee right before we went to Iraq, so he didn't get to deploy. But we're all in a chow hall, and everything's just sloppy. Everything's thrown everywhere. And Paul's Rosales is allergic to shellfish, and he like is still convinced to this day that we put shrimp inside one of his salads. And we're like, dude, you go through here, nothing's organized, nothing's in order, man. Like we have nothing to do with that. Dude, but it was
what do you have a
man, that was a place to live. He started swelling up. His throat was swelling. He's like, dude, I gotta go. You gotta go take some Benadryl and like lay down for the rest of the day, dude. It was great. But he swore that we did it to him. And I don't know, maybe Doyle did. I know I didn't.
Oh fuck. Man, do you think, like, honestly, do you think that they would, like, you know, whoever hire was for them was just like, look, these are fucking grunt units, like, kind of like treat them like shit. It's okay. You know what I mean? Like, we don't want them to get too comfy over here. They're going to war and shit. So, like, keep them, you know.
Yeah. I believe it. I believe it. I believe it, man. They're just like, fuck them. They got nothing else to do. You know, that's how it goes. We always get shit on, man. You gotta admit, we get shit on. We get shit on like the most while we're in, and then I feel like we get shit on the most while we're out too, because like any Marine that a civilian meets is the equivalent to us. So it's like you could have been, you know, male, but you're such a badass in these people's eyes, and it's like, well, this guy didn't do anything. But you know, there's no like. It's just all gray area for them. It's just everybody's the same, which kind of sucks, you know. And then you got to explain, oh well, you know, this happened and this, but dude, it's hilarious.
I always get told, oh, you were in the Army. That's like the most common phrase I hear. Like, oh, you were in the Army. Yeah, I was in the Army. Roger that. Yeah.
Badass. Actually, I was a guard.
Like, do I really want to take the time to explain the difference to this individual?
And that's how it is. Yeah, that's how it is, man. I feel that way too. Like sometimes I'm just like, I'll meet people and I'll be like, you know, are you in the military? I'll be like, nah. Like, nah, I wasn't. Nope. Like, just go about your day. Like, we've got no business here. Like, I don't need to talk to you. And, you know, I just don't feel like explaining an entire story now. Yeah. You know?
Dude, and I'm sure for you, like, I don't know how much you and Jose have talked about, like, what we're doing here with the podcast, just chumming it up with dudes. But, like, we do like to tap into the, you know, mental health realm and everything. And that kind of brings up an interesting question, which I want you to go ahead and kind of, if you don't mind, just kind of tell your story a little bit, as brief or as in detail as you want to, like why you joined up and just kind of what happened during your enlistment. And then I'm going to tie back into that question right there that I had for you as you were talking.
Cool. Yeah, I was actually listening to Shoemaker's podcast a little earlier, and it was just funny to me. It's like such a I felt like we had such different experiences on why we like both joined and like went in. You know, it's crazy just like thinking about the different types of people and different people you meet just along the way. But yeah, man, I grew up in Chicago, so I guess originally I never even really thought of the Marine Corps unless I needed something to do, you know. And that's just kind of how it turned out for me. Like I got out of high school and I worked for a little bit. I was working at a courthouse and I had some family that were cops and some family that were bailiffs at that courthouse and a couple other ones. So I was, naturally I was just like, I want to be a cop. Like, that was like my plan. And I went to college for like a semester and just realized, at 19 really quickly that was not for me. Like even high school was a little much, but so I like just toyed around with the thought for like a couple of months after getting out of high school and then never really thought about it again. And then after just letting that semester of college go, I was like, well, I got to do something. Like I know that I'm not going to be able to do anything without a college degree. And I know for a fact that I'm not, mature enough right now for a college degree. So I was like, well, and my family's Hispanic, man. So I grew up just like some of the craziest shit, like getting yelled at, getting hit, just like nothing, nothing bad, just like normal, I guess, like kid stuff. So I felt like the Marine Corps, I was like, well, the military, I could just do 4 years. I've gotten yelled at the last 18 years at home. Like the Marine Corps would be fine or whatever. And I had a cousin who was a recruiter at that time. And he told me, he's like, man, I don't know, dude, like, we're not gonna be able to get you in. I had a tattoo on my neck. And I just kind of like left it at that. I was just like, whatever, kind of got disqualified before even doing any steps. And he's like, I can set you up with an Army recruiter. So I was like, yeah, I'll talk to them. And I just kind of talked with them. And the guy was like trying to get me to do tanks and stuff. And I just not really like, I don't know, just wasn't really interested. It just felt like if I wasn't going to do Marines, then I didn't want to do anything. You know what I mean? It just felt weird to me. So while I was working at that courthouse out in the suburbs of Chicago, one day I went to lunch, and as I'm walking back it was at one of the malls, and as I'm walking back from the mall to my car, this Marine Corps recruiter comes up to me. He's like, hey, you ever thought about joining Marines? I was like, my cousin already disqualified me, this and this and that. And he was just like, well, I think we'd definitely be able to get you in, And it's like summer of 06. So it's like probably like July of 06 or so. I might have just turned 19. And I met him at his recruiting office, took like pictures with my PT gear on and showed my tattoos. I think kind of to show that they weren't gang tattoos either, but just like kind of did all that and just waited around, got some letters of recommendation. They were like, we're not gonna be able to get you in right now. Just your tattoos really screw you. So I was like, all right, whatever. So I ended up waiting around until like October, and a recruiter hit me up. He's like, dude, I think we'll be able to get you in. Like, it's in a year. They're taking anybody. It's literally what he told me. He's like, you might be all right this time. So did all that, and I ended up getting accepted, I guess, really, and just kind of didn't really know what I want to do. And I think I had motor T as my first as my first job. You know what I mean? It was just like, whatever, just get me in, get me on paper, and then figure it out from there. Because even my recruiter, like I went in and did maps and everything, and then I signed, and it was like, you're leaving to boot camp like on Tuesday, and it was like Thursday. I was like, dude, I can't leave. He's like, no, we'll fix that, don't worry. But so like I went to boot camp at the end of November. So between that time, like he calls me up and he's like, hey man, we've got 3 slots for infantry. Like, do you want to do it? Like, you got to tell me right now. And I was like, let me call my cousin. Like, hey, yeah, like, I don't even know really what I'm signing, At 19, you've got 30 pages of a contract that you don't know what's going on, and you're staring at it, but you're not reading it, like who reads those things, and so I like called my cousin up who was a recruiter, and he had just a very loud presence. Like he was gunny in 1-5 or staff sergeant 1-5 during the push. Then he was he was a drill instructor, then went to recruiting duty after that. And so like he's just a very hard dude. And I called him up. I was like, hey Danny, like I was like, hey bro, there's 1 slot for infantry, man. What do you think? What should I take it? He's like, all he said, he was like, Danny did it. And I was like, okay. I like hung up and I called my recruiter. I was like, yeah, I'll do the infantry. I'll take the infantry contract or whatever. And, I'm not even really knowing what any of that meant. I knew just like just it was infantry, So did that, went to boot camp out in California. It was great. I planned it, so I had like I did it through the winter, so it wasn't even like that cold. Like, I mean, it was cold on record, but it wasn't really that bad. But yeah, boot camp was pretty chill. And then I felt like I didn't really talk much in boot camp. Like, I kind of kept to myself. Like, like most of you guys know that I'm pretty like outspoken, loud, and just like, just kind of me. So like boot camp was like completely different. I just stayed quiet. Like, I remember getting IT in second phase for the first time as we were like coming up north to Pendleton for that month, and we're like bringing all our shit in, and one of Joe's truckers like grabs me and throws me on the quarterdeck and starts like doing push-ups and stuff, and he's like stops and he's like, "Who are you? What platoon are you?" And I was like, "This platoon, sir." He's like, "Oh, okay, keep pushing." So yeah, boot camp I felt like was pretty chill. Like, just watching other people just like piss themselves and like literally freaked out. Like it always struck me as awkward, and just not knowing at 19 like how different everybody grows up. And like, I don't know, I just felt like, I remember Black Friday we get in and we're running back and forth from like the bathroom to outside, and literally it's just like shit's everywhere, shit's being thrown everywhere, you're getting pushed into stuff. I remember just like getting in the shower with like 40 dudes, and they like turn everything on, and I'm just like literally dying laughing. I'm like, this is absolutely mind-boggling to me. I'm like, what is happening? Like I was just like so shocked. I was like, it's not that crazy, but it's just like just a process of it. I was like, this is absolutely wild. Like people, I was like, I came to this. Like I got on the bus and came to this. So it was like hilarious to me, but never felt like anything crazy. It always just felt like, I don't know, an extension of high school, as like becoming a younger adult and a younger dude at that time, a younger guy, where it's just like, it's just kind of things you get into, things you do,
You were India
So
company, weren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, we went to, were you 3201?
Yeah,
You weren't in my,
we were together.
yeah.
We were together.
And then we went
dude.
to SOI together.
Dude. Yes, dude,
Yes.
Because I remember this distinct story with you, and I don't know why, but it's still like it goes through my mind sometimes, and I get it's just hilarious to me. I remember you and I taking a shit from each other at our barracks, and there was no stall, so we're looking at each other. And I remember seeing you, and you're like, you've got your toilet paper and you're putting water on it. You're like soaking it down to wipe your ass, and I'm like,
Yes.
What are you doing? You're like, it's like baby wipes, dude. It blew my mind, and now to this day, I haven't bought toilet paper in like 8 years. You know what I mean? Like, I don't even use toilet paper anymore. But I don't know why, dude. But that story's always like stuck in my mind with you. Hilarious. Yeah, man. You remember boot camp? How fucking funny it was, man. Like, we were like the worst platoon. We weren't third platoon, but we were bad.
I think we only won like one thing ever.
We would have won. We would have won the knowledge portion if Dale didn't fail it twice. Even if he would have failed it once, we would have been good. But he failed it twice and just completely screwed us.
Dude, Dale was a physical specimen in boot camp.
Dude, Dale,
he always was. He always was.
Physical specimen.
He was insane to me. And it's like, I see Dale. I see Dale now, and like everybody, you're 19, 20, you're calling Dale an old man. You know what I'm saying? Dale's 26 at that time, probably. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's like, when you think about it, that's like when the true like Olympians and like all these athletes are starting to get at their peak is at that age. Yeah. So it's like for Dale and like DeMontigny and all these other guys to get in when they were older, it's like it almost made sense that they were such hosses at PT. You know what I'm saying? Like, these dudes were mentally more mature, and their bodies were physically more mature, and they were, just seeing Dale and like thinking about it. I'm sure he's still the same way now because he's just like an athletic dude. But thinking of Dale, like, that dude used to run like 14-minute 3 miles.
Yeah.
It was insane to me. And I was never a long distance runner. So like my miles weren't great. But like it was like me and Dale were like 10 minutes apart. You know, like that dude was just insane. That dude was absolutely wild. But he's a great guy, man. Are you guys going down to a reunion?
I'm thinking about going.
I don't know about it.
Okay, I was just thinking about it because he posted it. But yeah, I think I'm gonna go down. And then I was just talking to MRAP before I got on with you guys, and I think he's gonna go down. So
is he still contracting?
No, he's like, I thought I saw him contracting one day. He's like, but I wasn't sure if that was him. So I didn't say anything. No, he stopped a couple of years ago. He just had back surgery. He's doing union work now. But yeah, he just had back surgery. I actually I got married on the 29th of last month, and he came out for it. And I didn't realize that this dude like had some serious back surgery like the week before he came. He gets off the plane and this guy's like, he's got a cane and he's limping. This dude's physically worse than I am right now, you know?
Oh, fuck.
So it's like, yeah, but he's doing great, man. He just had his fourth kid Sunday.
Right on.
Yeah. So yeah. No, he's doing good, man. I talk to him a lot. I keep in touch with a lot of dudes, but I don't know. I feel like social media, if you don't keep in contact with guys, you know, with social media and it's, you know, outlets we have now, it's just kind of like that's on you, you know? So, but yeah, man, like, yeah, boot camp, fucking wild, you know, it was wild. I don't know how you felt. I don't know. It just never seemed hard to me. And I guess just being naive and 19 and just young at that time. And I say that now because being, you know, turning 34 in a couple months and like understanding and just maturing and just like understanding how like minds work at 19, you know, at that age now, it's like, you're just such a kid still, you know? So it's like, to me, it just almost felt like a game. And I just felt like I never really, like even in Marine Corps, like I always just felt like I was kind of oblivious to everything. Like I knew what was going on. I knew our mission. I knew what we had to do and we had to take care of, but it just always felt like, you know, like, I don't know, it's just weird to me. It was kind of like,
I was just telling my fucking parents yesterday, boot camp stories, dude. I was like, I wish I could do that shit again.
yeah.
It was fucking hilarious. Like you're saying, it was. People being terrified, like seriously terrified,
Dude.
Piss in their beds and shit. I remember being on fire
falling out of their racks.
Yeah, dude. Like scared out of their minds. And I just remember like you like just standing there like laughing at shit. I would laugh as much as I could without getting fucked up for it. But I told this one story. This shit will stick with me forever. I don't know if you guys had to drink this fucking like little brown powder in a little plastic, like looked like a little piss cup. And we had to do this shit like 4 or 5 times. And they said, I don't know what it was actually, but they said it was like flu medicine or something. Yeah. So we would all get online and they would give us this little cup with this powder in it. We pour canteen water in it and drink it. This shit gave everyone fucking the shits, dude. Whoa. Like, so this one time we're all online, we're naked and shit, right? With the towel out, get ready to go shower. And this fucking kid steps offline and he's like, sir, recruit so-and-so request permission to use the head call. And, you know, the DI was way down the catwalk and he fucking like snaps his head. He's like, what, bitch? And he goes and runs up to him. And the kid says, fuck it. And he starts hightailing down the fucking catwalk towards the fucking bathroom. And he's shooting ropes of diarrhea out of his ass all the way down.
Dude, it's like,
I'm just dying laughing. I loved it. I'll never
does not understand, dude. Dude, that is great. It's like you hear stuff like that, and it sounds unbelievable. And you're like, no, this is a story that I would never question. You know what I mean? It's
right.
Like there's always something. Yeah, dude. I
loved it.
I remember. I remember the Crucible, and I had gotten, you know, you get your 3 MREs, and they don't give, you know, you don't get a fucking choice to just pour them out. They let you guys fight over them. So I'm not like a seafood eater. So I ended up getting like shrimp jambalaya as one of them. And it was fucking brutal. So I kept that one for my last one. And like the day before, I think it was like the night before the crucible, I ate the the jambalaya packet, like the main packet finally, and I just put up. And at that time I never used to eat the hot sauce ever. I never had hot sauce. It was like not my thing. And I just loaded up with Tabasco. I was like, I need to eat something, so I loaded up with Tabasco, ate that, and then the next morning you get to the Reaper and they give you like the broth, and maybe like an orange, so like nothing solid. So like we did that. We ate that. We hiked the Reaper, and I'm just like the whole time my stomach's killing me. Like since we got up, my stomach's hurting. We start doing the Reaper. We get up. We get over, and we're heading down. I was like, "Hey, this recruit, requests to use a head," and he was like, "Yeah, we'll stop at the $1 million head." You guys remember, the one that was like, I don't know, it felt like 10 miles. It might have been like a mile or something from the barracks or something. But he's like, "We'll stop at the $1 million head." So I was like, "Oh, okay, fine." So we're hiking, we get there and we just keep going past his head. Like we're going straight to the barracks, and I just remember it being so fucking long. And you can probably see the barracks from that head, you know what I mean? But at 19, you have no sense of anything. So like direction and like distance and all that is just like, you have no clue. So dude, it was brutal. I got back there and as soon as we got into the barracks, like I dropped my pack. And I was like, this recruit, and the drill instructor was like, "Go, bitch." And I literally, I sat there and I shit the entire time everybody was getting showered and getting ready and I remember the drill instructor coming in and being like, "You have to fucking move now." So I had to run in the showers. I like took like a 30-second shower and then threw on like a set of shitty camis just so I can go to his warrior breakfast to come back and shit again. You know what I mean? But dude, it was, and that's their plan at the warrior breakfast. It's just get you loaded full of food. But it was brutal, man. And that was boot camp. That is,
fuck
that. Then you're a Marine. Then
I was fucking abused on that fucking last hike. They used me as a mule, so all the motherfuckers that were like dropping like flies, dude, they fucking made them all attached to like my pack. Yeah, they made me attached to my pack, and then all the other recruits had to attach to their pack, bro. And I'm literally hauling them all the way the fuck up, dude. Dude, I was dying, dude.
Oh man,
straight up Mexican mule, dude.
Dude, and that's something that's funny is like I used to, and it's kind of like sick, but I used to just not get off on it, but like that shit would motivate me, like seeing people suffering bad. Like,
fuck you, dude.
Oh my God, I was the worst senior guy. I absolutely agree. Yeah. I'm still that way.
Yeah, it's just like that's motivation, like not really hurting or in like bad, health or anything,
but like pushing through it.
Oh yeah, and I would just like, especially on humps, like I've told her this shit before. Like I just remember like looking at dudes, carrying a small, because we were weapons. We had always had carrying some type of fucking crew serve shit, and like just watching dudes, even my own like platoon members, like just fucking suffering bad. I'm like, yeah, bitch, I'm good. You're not good. I'm good.
It's the best when you see senior guys too that just shit talking your whole fucking day, and then they get like a pack on them. They're like, yeah. And then we just came from West Coast, and then we get to the East Coast, and we think we're hosses. You know what I'm saying? Like we're hiking in mountains, like we get to sea level, we're just gone on everybody. Yeah, it's great.
That's when I started hitting my 17, like sub 18 3-mile runs. And my 18-mile runs, dude, coming to sea level, dude, I was like, fucking.
Man, I think my best 3 miles was like 21 minutes. Hey, get out of here.
Dude, no, for sure. That is one thing I think the West Coast guys, like you guys' conditioning was probably fucking a lot better than the East Coast. Not just because elevation, but because of the fucking, the terrain and all that. Like,
yeah. It was, dude, I remember like, so you don't really do you do your hiking and stuff that month, but when you get to SOI, then it's like a haze fest and you go do your land nav. Remember getting land nav like the first like week getting dropped in there and they're like, oh yeah, here's the base and here's your fucking numbers. And you're like 1,800 meters. Like you're like 6 clicks from this fucking your next box. You know what I'm saying? In terrain that you have no fucking clue. Like you're on mountains. You don't know what cliffs are around here. You don't know what anything is, you know? Like it's really wild to think that you just send an 18-year-old out with, you know, a little bit of land nav skills, and then he's gone all day, you know?
Dude, SOI was tough because they had me doing everything else. And then I was still a fat body, but I wasn't like fat. And I was doing remedial PT on Saturdays. while everyone's on the level, dude, I'm getting my ass fucking A's. Like Corporal Becker, dude, the biggest motherfucker I've ever fucking seen, dude.
I remember you and another dude that I came with from Chicago in boot camp. You guys were getting like half rats at boot camp because your tapes are all, because you know they tape you and it means nothing. You know, you're just a stocky dude. And these guys are getting half rats. And meanwhile, there's other dudes who are like 90 pounds who are getting double rats who can't finish their meals, and there's just food wasted everywhere.
Dude, let me maybe you know this. I think the most fucked up thing that happened to me in boot camp, dude, was someone pissed in my fucking canteen. Dude,
I remember
waking
up. Dude, I remember waking up, bro. I remember waking up, and I think I was next. I think our racks were next to each other, or was it up north? We were next to each other because I remember you grabbing it and you drinking it. And you'd be like, "Someone pissed in my canteen," and I just drank it. We're like online the first thing in the morning. I was like, "Oh my god, that is disgusting, dude." I remember that so fucking bad, dude. That was horrible. Wait, so I feel like, so I remember I had this dude Castro who was my rack mate the whole time. I feel like maybe during field week you and I shared a tent though.
Could have. I have to get really drunk to go back into that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like I don't remember, but because I remember that story. I remember being like literally right next to you, and I feel like it was up north when we were sleeping in tents, and like someone grabbed your canteen probably from like under the tent or something.
I was hated because I was a squad leader too, dude. It was when I was a squad leader.
The squad leaders were the fucking worst, bro. The squad leaders were the worst. I remember. I don't even remember his kid's name, but I remember him. I don't even remember one of our drill instructors being like, he's like, fine, I won't even say anything. He's just like mouthing words. He's like he did something like that. You know what I'm saying? Just like trying to get our attention or something. I remember one of the guides at the time was like, try to do that. Like try to mimic him at some point. And I was like, dude, shut the fuck up. Like, and I remember like threatening him and be like, dude, I'm gonna whoop your ass. Like no one fucking cares. And then I remember him going and telling the drill instructor like that night. And then like the drill instructor like the next morning was like, I hear recruits are threatening other recruits or something like that. I was like, what a fucking pussy. I was like, I can't believe that.
I remember his face, but I can't remember his name.
He was like a goofy
squad leader. I remember was a guy named Gavin. He was like this.
Yeah, I remember Gavin. Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, and I've seen him at MCT like one time.
I remember seeing him there. Yeah. After boot camp, we didn't see anybody.
He was in our platoon. Hessen was in our platoon. Dude from Washington State.
I don't remember. I feel like if I see him, everybody looked the same. Because then everybody split too. Once we got, because you stayed rifleman, right?
No, this is what happened to me. I wanted to be an 0331, and they're like, yeah, you're too small. And it was Danny Trejo. Remember Sergeant Trejo, big ass fucking Mexican. He's like, you're too fucking small. Great. You'll never be a fucking machine gunner. I was like, what the fuck? So they just fucking threw my ass in the 11th platoon, dude. I was like, fuck it.
Dude, I was like 154 pounds and I was a machine gunner. I remember going and they were like doing, what is it, like your 3 weeks or something like that. And then, and then everybody gets split. They go to their respected weapons. And it was like, all right, the night before, like, start thinking about what you guys want to do and let's go meet. You can go meet Sergeant Lang from the machine gunners, and then whoever is the mortars and whoever's who. And my cousin was a mortarman, so I was like, fuck, I want to be a mortarman, man. That'd be dope as shit, you know. That's what he did. So I originally wanted to be a mortarman just because my cousin was, but I was like, I don't want to get fucked and be an 11. Like, that was my mentality. I was like, I don't want to get fucked and be an 11 and have to hike everywhere and, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just going to suck. They spent more time in the field while we were in boot camp. You know what I'm saying? Like, or in SOI. Like, it just all sounded fucking horrible to me, you know? So I was like, well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to machine gunners and I'm going to go sign up for there, because if I don't get mortarman, then I'll be a machine gunner. So I go in there and I remember, like, everybody's in there and I don't even know how I got picked. I was not like one of the biggest guys. I was a good PTer, I guess, but just like all the dudes in there, I like signed my name and I got a good PT score, I guess, in that. And I remember Doyle walking in. Hey, you weren't there, huh? Doyle walks in, or Doyle's in there, and he's like, and Sergeant Lang's going over, like, this is the 240, and then it's a 50 cal and a Mark 19. Those are our guns, and blah, blah. And Doyle, like, raises his hand. He's like, well, what about the saw? And he's like, no, that's 11. He's like, that's not a machine gun. It's an automatic rifle, blah, blah. And he's like, oh, you don't get the saw in here? Later. It just walks out in the middle of this guy's like whole speech. And he's like, I remember clear as day, Sergeant Lang's like, oh yeah, ignorance is bliss, huh? And like Doyle turns around, he's like, yep. And just like walks out and goes to the 11s.
Wow.
Like it was absolutely wild to me, but yeah, we got picked for that. And it was I don't know how. So I ended up signing up for machine gunners and, you know, not paying attention to anything. And then the next day going to mortarman and they're like, well, you're already a machine gunner. I'm like, well, I just put my name down on the list. They're like, too fucking bad, you're a machine gunner now. So I got sent back to machine guns. But no, it's like, it was dope, man. I get out of here. Go. It was dope, man. I really appreciated machine guns, you know.
Hey, man, I met Tom Kingery. Tom Kingery was kicked out of the machine gun platoon, I think.
Was he?
Yeah, dude. I met him on top of
Dale almost got kicked out.
Yeah, dude. I felt bad for those dudes that were waiting in SOI to pick up a class. There's like some dudes there that had been there for like 3 fucking months, dude. Just waiting to pick up on a class.
Yeah, Heath and Doyle and all those dudes, they're patrolling around SOI. They're just like with a glow belt and a flashlight, just like for no reason.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, they got screwed on that deal, man. And then we came in and we were there a week and we started a thing. Actually, I think we picked up like that weekend. It was crazy, man. I just felt like I didn't know what was going on. I remember showing up in like our chucks and just like not understanding where to go or where to stand or anything, or do we still walk in step? You know, like how does this work? Who do I get yelled at by? Like, you know, it was just like such a crazy time to think of, and just like damn it, 19, 20, that's what we were doing. All right, you're done, bro. Oh. All right.
What kind of dog?
Yeah, man. So I got a golden doodle. Winston. We're like in the middle of moving right now. Winnie. Hey, dude. Got a lab back there, Wonka, my chocolate lab.
Nice.
And this dude, Winston. Hey. Oh, he got another ball. Did it fall? Oh, it fell down.
I fell off. Yeah.
Did it?
He's got telekinesis.
Yeah, right, dude. These guys are funny, man. Like they'll get up. First thing they do is like we got our front closet that has their treats in it, and like Wonka go down and like stare at the door, and then like stare at me, and then like stare at the door. They're wild, man. I feel like there's way more of a connection to animals that humans don't realize. And I mean, I think one, because nobody's connecting with anybody anymore, you know.
For sure.
But no, these dudes are great, man. They're chill guys. I take them pretty much everywhere with me. I did a was it 2 summers ago? Every year they do a motorcycle ride for Exaros up on Cape Cod. So I do that with I drove out there I've got like a truck bed camper, so I take my dogs and then I drove out there with Rose actually, from weapons. And we drove from here to all the way up to New Hampshire and then back down to the Cape. Took these guys with me. It was a blast.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's sick.
Taking on a couple trips, yeah. But yeah, man, I mean, I feel like SOI is kind of the same as boot camp, like kind of blurry. I'd like to go back and do it again and just kind of like pay attention to like everything, you know what I mean? Like just kind of like understand the knowledge and stuff that's like being like taught to us. And I feel like even that for boot camp, it's like, you know, nobody really realizes that we get like just classes upon classes of knowledge of like, you know, history and like law and stuff like that. But I wish I could just go back and do all that stuff and just be like, okay, I get, you know, effectively to shoot this machine gun, like this is how I can do it and not just, you know, kind of be an idiot about it.
Yeah, dude, and that's got to be a tough job for those guys to train idiots like us. You know, they've already a lot of those instructors had already been to fucking combat. You know, we're talking about 2006, 2007 time frame,
and like some real shit.
They've already been. You know, they're sergeants and shit now. They've already came back. Probably they were on the initial wave, and they're trying to fucking get that into our stupid heads, and we're like, what are you talking about? Like, we know there's a war going on, but we're like, we don't understand that shit like they did.
We're playing Call of Duty.
Yeah.
You know?
No, I'm just saying definitely retaining the information a little better would be something. Not that I didn't. I mean, I think it all, you know, until you get to the fleet anyway, all that shit gets retaught to you the way you're doing it once, so
for sure. Yeah, and that's when I kind of feel like, you know, that's a true Marine Corps, you know, once you get in, you start getting hazed, you know, and you're like, you're getting shit out by somebody that like eventually you're going to build a bond with and isn't like, you know, passing you on to the next person.
Yeah.
But dude, I love the fleet, man. I don't know. I you know, like I said, when I started, I was like, I wasn't initially planning on going in for anything other than like getting out and becoming a cop. So it was like, I just want to do my 4, get out, and, you know, college wasn't on my mind at all. I was like, I don't really give a shit. You know what I mean? I was like, cool, free college, but that wasn't like my thought at all. That was like the furthest thing. But yeah, I got in, man. It was just fun. It was like meeting all you dudes and like hanging out. And it's like no parents. You get to run around and do whatever you want. You know, like, oh, here's this card that you can get as much food as you want at any one of these chow halls on base. Done. Yeah. Oh, here's a 7-day store that sells booze 24 hours a day. Done. Here's Domino's. Here's Domino's that's 400 yards from your barracks. Like, come on. You gotta admit the barracks and the military, like, it is a pretty cool atmosphere. Like, you know, at face value, it's like you know, I meet a lot of guys who are college dudes, and, you know, they're all, you know, they all did all their college stuff before, and now, you know, they're businessmen and stuff. But meeting those guys and like hanging out with them, like, and even one of the guys said it to me, he's like, dude, he's like these dudes are the same as like Marines. They just got to do it with chicks and, you know, in a way cooler environment. You know what I'm saying? Like, the guys at UNCW got the same experience we got, but they got to do it in a much more pleasant spot of North Carolina than we did, you know? It's and like, you know, we just had all dudes, which made the entire experience a lot more I don't know, a lot more memorable for one. But I don't know, man, it's hard to explain. Like, you know how it is. You guys know how it is. There's dudes everywhere, and it's like the most homoerotic and the most like, you know, and the most like masculine place at the same time. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, and at that time, I felt like the internet and computers and stuff, we didn't really use them like everybody else did. Like, we had computers and internet, and we used Skype, and we weren't writing papers and stuff like that. So it was like, it was like a totally different like experience when you look at it. But we all, like, it was just like we all kind of shared the same experience, you know. But after our semester of school, we went and, you know, got fucked up. You know, we went and got blown up and shot at and stuff for a bit. But yeah, man, it's crazy. And I feel like going through school now and understanding it's just like the habits that we are as creatures, man, like humans. Like it's crazy. Like you know, just trying to tie in the whole, like, it's all just kind of the same experience. We just got to do it with guns. You know?
Yeah, and kind of like you said, you know, about it being all dudes, you know, not anything against females or women. I think they're very capable and could definitely do the job better than, you know, a lot of fucking shitbag dudes could have.
Yeah.
No problem. But like you're
saying, we have
saying,
plenty of guys for sure.
oh yeah,
that they could have outdone.
But like you're saying, like when it's just a whole pack of fucking dudes that are, you know, doing homoerotic shit, like it's next level, like debauchery shit you don't do or say around fucking females. Or you wouldn't, if there was a female there doing the same job you're not coming and busting your set out on somebody, you know, or, you know, farting on their head or something like that. You're just not gonna do that kind of shit. So
sharing flashlights with each other, you know, things like that. You're not, you know, like it's, oh dude, it's absolutely wild. I feel like it's college, but amplified, you know, it's like amplified in all the negative lights, but also in like all the positive lights too. You know what I mean? Like I still talk to dudes that, you know, like daily, you know, I talk to Neverett and some of these other guys, like, you know, every day, most of the time, you know, and it's not even through like social media. It's like phone calls, or we were just FaceTiming before you guys, you know, before I jumped on with you guys, but
and I think too, just because of like, you know, with the college and how everything's orchestrated and everything, the military is very similar, but the main difference is like the hardships that we go through, not just the deployment stuff, but the training and like just being fucking miserable and like commiserating with your boys is like one of the best bond forming things you can do. That's what makes you, you know, so. Not that I've been in a college setting, but I mean, I'm sure that's got to be the biggest difference, you know?
Yeah. You know, and you know, nobody's roofing you at the barracks, right? Yeah. No, I definitely agree with you there. You know, it's and you know, it's hard to explain to people, you know, it's like until, you know, like, because PTSD, everybody can suffer from PTSD, you know, and it's like, you know, and that's a fact, and we can see that. But there's a thing about like veteran PTSD and sharing that PTSD together and like the common bond that you've gone through, you know, whether it was like boot camp stories or you guys just had the worst fucking day of your life out, you know, past the wire. It's like you get those bonds and you have those stories, and it's like those stories are what, like, I love and I appreciate now, and I'm being older and it's harder to remember them, you know, and it's harder to remember who was there and who names and, you know, specifics of it, you know, and it's like I was telling, like I was saying earlier, you know, I set my picture and I've got like 6-7 pictures from both of my deployments, you know what I mean? And it was just kind of at the time, just, oh, I don't want to take pictures. I'm kind of a hard ass. And, you know, now I'm like, shit, I wish I would have had all that, you know? But it's like being able to like share those stories and share those memories with the guys that, you know, that did make it through, and just like, oh man, you know, the hardships through it. I feel like that bond is just nowhere near, you know, in my opinion, and you know, I just think it's nowhere near as close as anybody can come to without having, you know, experienced things like that or been with those people during those times, you know. It's sure. And I you know, like I really do, I don't know, I love being older now and being able to appreciate everything that we've gone through and looking back, and it's like, man, I really want to connect with these dudes. Like I need to get out, and you know, I'd like to start doing more and seeing these guys more, you know, and it's tough. Everybody's grown up, they've got lives, people have kids and, you know, careers and stuff. So I think I think just being able to connect and, you know, in this light as well now, I think this is great. You know, via your guys' podcast, like I think it's awesome. And those bonds, man, it's crazy. And, you know, talking Jose, you know, and realizing again that we were at boot camp together. You know what I mean? It's like holy shit, that's right. You know, and I forgot about the bag nasties they gave us from the you know, from the chow hall. But yeah, man, there's just nothing like it. And it's with my experience as well from like veterans, you know, veterans as a whole, like going on different trips and things like that with certain veteran groups. You see a lot of Army vets. You see a lot of Army vets because they're the next, you know, the next combat related job next to, you know, the Navy. And then you get, you know, Air Force and stuff, and you don't really get too many combat vets through there. But you see these guys, and it's just like, it's so weird to me. Army guys, National Guard guys, their bond isn't the same. You almost feel, to me, they almost feel and look awkward together. You know what I mean? It's like, we get around Marines, and like, even if we've never served together, I've met some of the closest guys I know through these organizations that served in Iraq 1 and 2, you know what I'm saying? And like, it's just like immediate. You're able to jump in with a Marine. You're able, you know, whatever time of war, you know, whatever it is, like you're able to jump in with a Marine, and the bond is just like instant. It's just weird to me. And then I see Army guys or, you know, Navy guys, if they were, you know, corpsmen on the green side, they jump right in with the Marines, but it just doesn't, you don't see that bond and that like drawing together that you do in these other branches, at least in my opinion, from what I've seen. You know, it's crazy how we can just come together and it's just right away. You know, it's immediate, like we're soulmates almost. You know what I mean? It's crazy, man.
Yeah, for sure, man. I always tap into it through the philosophical lens. That's why I love Aristotle, his conception of friendship, which is basically you see a part of yourself in the other person, and the other person sees a part of themselves in you. And you know, some of the research that I do, and it sounds absolutely insane when you hear it this way, but I think it goes beyond, you know, it's like we tap into this metaphysical component of what they call an anomalous cognition or psychical abilities. It's like, you know, intuitively, you know, through the sixth sense that there's something there. And,
dude,
you know, so, and actually it's one of the reasons, you know, part of this, like the podcast and a part of like the book research is I want to bring anomalous cognition, psi, into the mental health realm. And I think there's a way where we can identify specific markers where we can actually identify and act on those intuitions by using specific things like biofeedback, but it has to be encrypted. So I do think that on some, like panpsychism, like everything is somewhat aware. And I think that that's how these bonds form. And I've considered everything from the amino chains in the gene systems all the way to exchanging DNA, whether you drank from someone's canteen, whether you gave someone's hug. And I mean, I've considered all these options, especially considering, you know, the battle space, but it's like, it's crazy because there's guys that have, I'm sure we'll tap into it, but there's guys that have checked out, and dude, about a week or two before they've checked out, I had this fucking, you know, this sixth sense, call the motherfucker. And I failed to act on it, man.
It's like the phantom limb, bro.
Yeah.
You know,
so there's something to that, man.
Yeah. And it, you know, it's crazy you mentioned that, because I think like 6 or 7 years ago, I was hit up by one of the guys at the hospital after I got injured, and he was like, hey man, there's this organization called Wishes for Warriors, and they take guys out on you know, hunting trips, and they do all this stuff, and you know, it's great. They were just getting started. So I hit up Bam, who's the CEO of it, and he's like, He's like, yeah, man, we can get you out, whatever you want to do. He's like, I've got a house down in Baja. We can go fishing, blah, blah, blah. So I was like, that's cool, man. I'll do, whatever. Bam's a Marine. He was in tracks for like Iraq 1 and 2. And then I want to say, and just a hard ass, like been through it, you know what I'm saying? So we get out there and never met the guy except through Instagram and just like talking to him on the phone like once or twice. And he picks me up. We go to Cali because we're driving down to Baja. So I fly into Cali, known the guy for maybe like 6 hours. We start having drinks and stuff, and we're kind of bar hopping in Temecula area, and we get to this one bar, and I don't know what it was, but there was these guys who like had a problem with me, man. I have no clue what it was. I was like literally grabbing drinks from the bar. We're like passing my leg around, drinking out of it, like having a good time. Like people, you know what I'm saying? Like we're like high fiving. Like everybody was just like having a great time with us. And it's like still, well, I guess it was later in the evening, but yeah, so we're having a good time. And these guys, like I grab these drinks and I turn, and I feel like they might have been Marines also. And I like turn, and one of them was like, you good, bro? And I've got like 2 drinks in my hand. I'm like, what? He's like, are you good, bro? And I was like, yeah, hang on. So I like put these drinks down, and Bam's talking to somebody, and I had just met Bam this day, like earlier today. And I tapped Bam on the arm, and he looks at me, and I literally gave him a head nod. I was just like, he gives me a head nod back. And then this was the biggest brawl I've ever been in my life. Oh, yeah. Dude, it was the most outrageous thing that I've ever been a part of. I ended up hitting this first guy, this other guy hits me, Bam hits this guy, and we're just going back and forth on these dudes, and it was just madness, man. There was like 30 people, like seriously, in a bar that just broke out in a fight. They were throwing stuff, like chairs are getting thrown. Bam like hip tosses it. He thought it was a chick who was like scratching him, and he like hip tosses her. Finds out it's like this older dude with long hair. And he like kicks it. Dude, it was nuts, man. We get kicked out of the bar, but you saying, it's just like some sort of like telepathic or just something. Like I didn't know Bam. We were just Marines. It was like he had no clue what was going on in my head. I had no clue what he might have thought I was thinking. And here we are getting into a massive fight with each other. And it was just like he had my back essentially, because I was the one, I guess, who initiated it after all that. But, but it's just like that bond, and now today I run Wishes recreational, outdoor recreational therapy clinics. So just this past October, we had guys out for golfing, had like 10 vets for a golfing clinic. I hosted 7 vets out here a couple months ago for a snowboarding clinic out here in Utah. We got them on some big mountains and some good snow. So, yeah. But yeah, I mean, me and Bam we're bros. Like last year, I got to watch him take down this elk with his bow, and no, man, we're in. From the time meeting him to now, it's just it's been that bond that we all talk about. It's like it was like him and I were in Iraq together. He was in Afghanistan. It's just that common ground. I think it really. I don't know. I think other branches just don't have it as much as we do, but I think it also comes from getting shit on the most too,
Yeah.
So
fucking hand-me-downs. That's all we get,
dude. Everything.
I was
everything.
My rifle on my 3rd combat tour broke on me like fucking 3-4 fucking times. And like 2 times we're on a patrol, bro. So the only thing I have is like my M203, dude. And I'm literally holding it like this.
Of course.
Yeah, dude. That shit was nuts for like.
Hey, you got point.
Yeah, right. Yeah, dude. Fuck that.
It's like, I don't know. I feel like you have to go through those experiences, though. Like I don't know. It was some of the shittiest time in my life was some of the greatest times that I've had with some of the most amazing people, And it's like I feel like now being a civilian and just like I'm constantly looking for the next like I don't know experience that we had. You know what I'm saying? Like I definitely don't want to go back to getting shot at or blown up, you know, but I'm looking for somewhere it's like, man, this is pretty legit. Like I can sustain this for a while, you know. But yeah, just the Marine Corps, man. I feel like it's definitely molded and changed me in like a more positive direction, you know. And I think being injured has also done that too. So
Yeah. Do you want, if you don't mind, I mean, whatever you want to talk about that. I feel like
yeah.
anybody that might listen to this that don't know your story, I would appreciate if you shared that.
Yeah, absolutely, man. So yeah, we talked about boot camp and SOI and went to fleet and we did Iraq, and then 09 we all got deployed to I guess it was Southern Helmand, Afghanistan. Like that time is the furthest south anybody has gone at that time. So I don't know. I felt like we were pretty fortunate. I don't know how you guys felt about it. Like I felt fortunate enough to be a part of that. Like it felt pretty cool. But yeah, we got down there and man, this is crazy. Yeah. So we got to Afghanistan. I remember getting there. We were there for like a month or so. We had no supplies. You guys remember all that stuff? We had no trucks. We had no cruisers. I remember I was telling my wife the other day, I was like, I was telling my buddy of mine, I was like, we were on Leatherneck and we were the first ones there. And they're like, here's your tents and your LSA or whatever is all the way down there, like a mile away. And we're like carrying these massive fucking tents. But I was like, there was nobody guarding that at the time. You guys remember the posts and they'd have like tent poles as like mock guns. So that it looked like somebody's manning the post. But yeah, we got out there and we did that for a month. And I don't know how it was for you guys, at least when we had Lieutenant Smythe, like he kept us, like we were still patrolling on base, we were still doing stuff, kind of like still working up towards the deployment, but spent the whole month doing that. And then we finally got word that, Echo's gonna be made an effort, and then, weapons company is gonna be in support, and they're putting weapons company guys certain places. And then like golf company is doing whatever with the DA or Fox was doing that or something. I remember those. No, golf company ended up like hiking down to Echo. It did like 6 days or something like that where they just fucking hiked and then got heloed back and did it again. But yeah, so you guys remember that? So,
yeah.
Dude, they got fucked up. Dude, they got fucked
so hard.
Yeah.
Dude, they got, and I got to say about that too.
Yeah, dude, I think the battalion commander kind of didn't like golf too much.
Oh, yeah, man. I don't think anybody liked the battalion commander. Remember when they shit on his guidon or his nameplate? Oh man,
dude. But I do remember before you get into the nitty gritty, I remember being on. I think we were in those big ass tents, like those 50-man tents or whatever on Leatherneck.
with the AC that brought it down to like 103 degrees in there.
Yeah. And I remember, I forgot who it was, but Weapons Platoon Gunny Wilkin was like, yeah, I'm right by the AC. The fucker ends up getting sick because it's blowing like sub-zero fucking air right onto his top. I'm like, you're a fool, dude. I went to the like middle of the shit. I'm like, you're fucking sick, bro. It's 130 degrees outside and you're sleeping next to 33-degree air, bro. But I remember it was a big deal because I think Echo was like right next to us or close by. And at night, dude, we started this shit where I forget who was doing it. I didn't personally do it, but dude, we were sending runners streaking through their fucking tents, dude.
Yeah.
And like it turned into this big deal because they started doing it back or they came over to like
dude. Man.
But I forget, like the company commander, I think, or whoever, like they got everybody out there and they're like, "You're gonna cut this bullshit out." We're losing our minds,
But, dude, I remember that. That shit was fucking great, man.
It was great. But yeah, go ahead.
Dude. yeah, so we all started getting our orders and stuff, and I was with weapons company with it's actually hilarious, but it just made me laugh. But before all this, so I was Echo Company for Iraq, and then you guys talking with Shoemaker about the whole split that these guys did, and we got sent and stuff, and I got sent because all this drugs and stuff was being sent out of there. I got sent to like H&S for Iraq, and then from there got sent to weapons company when we got back. So I was heavy guns and weapons company, and then we did all of CACs, and then I think it was right when we did the split, right when they told us like, hey, we're not going to Iraq, we're going to Afghanistan. I remember getting back to the tent in CACs, and Staff Sergeant Bennett comes up to me. He's like, yeah, Davila, pack up all your shit. You're going to anti-armor. And just walked away from me. And I was like, what? He was like, yeah, you got to go. I walked over. I was like, yo, Staff Sergeant B, what's up? He's like, yeah, Gunny Crutchy sending you to anti-armor, and we're taking whoever else. I was like, okay, cool. So I just literally did all this with you guys. Now I'm a month before we leave. I'm going to, going to another company. So I ended up, we ended up getting switched to Camp Platoons. So it made sense. But yeah, so I think it was Cat 3. So like for us, they were going to helo insert everybody. And then Cat 3, we hung around on base July 2nd, pretty much waiting for, I guess, whatever happened, which Sharp was killed. And that started on the 2nd, so Echo got out there. We were sitting around. I feel like there was another weapons platoon at Delhi with us. I can't remember, but so we had all that happen with Sharp getting killed, and we got the call, and they're like, hey, you need to load it up. We were listening to Echo all day, just getting shit on by, the firefight they were in for like 9 hours or something. So they're like, they're out of food, water, and rounds. Like, you guys need to load up your trucks as much as you can. And Jose, that's actually that picture I sent you that I'm with, where I'm like smiling, and I'm with Rodney there. That's us getting all our gear together that night. So we're loading our trucks up. So we're like grabbing all our Willie P's, like literally all the grenades we can. I remember getting up, and we're in MRAPs at this time. And I'm like sitting on boxes of ammo. Like, I don't even have like a gun strap. We're just loaded. Like, you can't see out any windows. It's like dock pars in the back, just food, chow, and fucking ammo everywhere. It's like, it was cool. It's like 20 years old, 21. You're like, man, this is fucking heavy. Like, this is dope as shit. And then, you get the call that somebody was killed, and you don't know who it is because it comes in, I think it was like Echo 3 Sierra or something like that, and then, for me being an Echo, like just trying to rack my brains. I remember Spalding being there, and him and I were just like, who is it? And just trying to figure out that, and then getting all our gear together. And then it just really kind of like settled in at that time where it was just like, holy shit, like we're not in training anymore. We're not as invincible as we'd like to believe at that age, So it was just like, it was the whole night leading up to it was the whole night leading up to getting a Sharp or getting to Echo's Paws was like just a really like a somber experience. Just like, we're getting everything ready. We're all having a good time, but we know that we're about to get in some serious shit, apparently, from what we've been hearing. So, we get out there the next day on the 3rd, and right away I'm trying to ask everybody, like, who is it? Who is it? And, finally, I think it might have been Bradham or someone. It was like, it was Sharp. And I was just like for me, that, like, Sharp was my roommate before Afghanistan, before I switched to weapons while I was still in Echo. And Sharp was just a great dude, and it just really, it was really tough hearing that. And I think, like, I didn't really accept it at first. So it made it hard to believe anybody who said it was Sharp. So it was like, I probably asked like 20 dudes. Honestly, I asked so many people just to make sure. And, it was just like that was going on at that time. So like the war finally getting there and then hearing someone really close to you, you know, that was just killed, was just like a whole different experience than anything else that we had gone through. You know, you guys talked about Iraq and how it was, you know, so it was just like, holy shit. You know, so we got there that day and we got in some firefights, and I remember they dropped a JDAM, like danger close to us. And I remember Zaros, who was in our truck, the VC in our truck. So we get there, and Lasher was the driver, and Zaros is the VC, and Parr is the corpsman, and everybody's set up everywhere, but except for our truck, we literally have nothing to do, and like everybody's shooting, and you're like, you just want to get into it, and you can't do it. Like, we're literally the only truck and the only people not doing anything. I was sitting inside the truck, like watching everybody, if I can just go to town on this, like on these houses that they're just leveling. And like even Zaros popped out, and there's a picture of him on Time magazine, and that's where that picture came from, when he jumped out of the truck, and he's like down there with his saw. And it's like him and Pleasure are next to each other. But yeah, that was like right when we got to Echo, and we did all that first day, and it was just kind of pretty wild that whole month, you know, I feel like for everybody. Like, we had being with Echo and being the main effort, well, them being the main effort and us being there, and Major Metter and all them, it's like I felt like we really got to see the war. You know, I can't remember where you guys were, but like for us, it was like, dude, bombs getting dropped, like mortars getting launched, like literally smalls, like AT4s, everything's just sent out this entire month of July, where we were. And then we're constantly getting helicopters coming in because it's Echo, and they're, you know, we're supporting them. So it was really cool, being able to experience that and be in during that part of history. But yeah, it was a really wild month. But for us, we spent the whole time with Echo. We set up some roadblocks, to get into the bazaar and stuff like that. And, we inserted a couple special forces like units in that a few times, and we did things here and there, and we got sent around to where they needed us, from Echo's Paws for that whole month. So that was the 3rd until like probably the 17th or something like that. And then we were running low on fuel, running low on ammo. A lot of the helos that were coming in and trying to drop off supplies were getting shot at. So they weren't bringing in as much as they could. So we finally had to go back and resupply. So we were waiting for another one of our sections to come back, and relieve us. And then we were going to go back to Delhi, get fuel, get food and water and all that. And then we're going to do like a week of QRF, you know, just some like bounce around here and there from different bases and stuff. So we're like leaving, we get all our stuff together in the morning, and I want to say like probably left around like 11 or 12. But there was one rolled in, and I want to say it was Cowboys that were on. We took Cowboys out, and on the way out, we were the 3rd truck, and our first truck got hit by IED. So I think that one was like 60 pounds. So that was like Staff Sergeant Breen, Uncle was in there. I want to say Badani, Dart, our bomb dog, Tips, his handler, and then I think maybe the Terp was in there. But they got hit. Nothing was wrong. It was in a big old MRAP. We started off with 4 MRAPs in the deployment, and then Motor T kept saying they wanted their MRAPs, or not their we had Max Pros and MRAPs, and they were like, we want these back. So we had sent 2 back. So then we had 2 Max Pros and 2 Humvees. So then right before we left, they were like, hey, Staff Sergeant Breen's like, hey, Motor T wants another MRAP back. He's like, and I'm not giving him mine. So he ended up taking our MRAP. So we switched out all the good shit that was in his MRAP, put it in ours. They took our MRAP. We took the shitty one because we're going to turn that one in. And then they ended up getting hit on the way out and destroying that one. And blew like a tire off. You know, like I said, everybody was good. We just literally waited there all fucking day to get this shit cleaned up. Like, I think Echo maybe pushed out a patrol, and we got the wreckers out there and everything. We literally got out, like we left in the morning and we were maybe a couple hundred yards from Echo's like gates, and we sat there until like almost dark. So we started headed back to Delhi, which was like, I want to say like a 2-hour drive, but we're headed back. We ended up getting halted that night, and battalion was like, you guys need to stop right there and set up for the night. And we're like, we're 3 Humvees on the most dangerous road in this part of Afghanistan, and they're putting up IDs. Like, we're literally talking, and we're like, we're literally hearing guys digging right now. Like, we're shooting loom rounds, we can't see them, but we can hear guys digging. And they're like, you guys need to stay right there. We're like, we can't. So we ended up, there was a British base on the way back, and we stopped in there, spent the night, and then headed back, and we got hit. And I'll never forget it. We get back to Delhi, and First Sergeant Payne comes up to us and doesn't say anything, doesn't ask anybody anything. And he like walks around, like peeks at everyone, and then goes up to Staff Sergeant Breen. He's like, hey, your Marines' hair are getting kind of long. And I was like, what? Like I stood up, and I remember, Zaros just being like, dude, chill. Like, I was like, this guy didn't say anything. Tips got medevac back for like whiplash when they got hit. But it was like, that's what you're worried about, dude? Like, we've been out there getting shit on for the last 2 or 3 weeks. But so we did that, and we had that whole month of quick reaction force, and we did a couple things. I think Fox had 2 MRAPs that got stuck, and then we ended up getting hit on the way out to go help them and recover them. So we ended up having to stay in the middle of the night, like just 3 trucks in the middle of this fucking little like town. It was like super sketchy. We did that for one night, and then just bounced around and grabbed, ran things around for people. But we ended up going back to Echo after that week. So as we're heading back, we're taking the same route back, and there was like the open desert we got to drive through and stuff. So as we're driving, like, I think we halted for something. Oh, so all right. So let me back up. So that night, that second time we got blown up, headed to go help out those vehicles that were stuck. Zaros used to take Lasher's rifle when he would get out of the truck, because Lasher was a driver and Zaros had a saw, so he didn't want to like have to run back and forth between trucks and stuff to with a saw. So he'd grab his rifle. So he grabbed it and gave it back to Lasher, and Lasher like put it back between the seats, like how we would always do, like pinch it between. And then like however long went by, and we were gonna get out of the trucks to do something, and Lasher goes to grab his rifle, and it slipped off of safe, and it fired around into our engine block of this Humvee that we have. Yeah. So it fired around into it, and then it just starts leaking like all this coolant or something. Like, we had no clue. So then it was like our fuel pump or something, because we would turn it on and then it would just start shooting out gas. So we had to keep it off all night. And then, yeah, dude. And it's like, you see, you're like, these guys are saving fucking lives out there. It's like, no, man, we're fucking ourselves by shooting our own equipment, But so we had that happen, and we after that, then we had to go back to, I want to say it was Dwyer, one of the big bases that had all the trucks in that. But we get back there, and they're going to give us an MRAP, and trade out the Humvee we had. So they give us an MRAP, and we get in. The MRAP has no AC, and they're like, well, you can't run, how big these are with the armor, and they're like, you can't run these without AC. Like, this thing will just die on you. So they're like, come back in a week, we'll have the AC ready for you. We're like, dude, this isn't Pep Boys. Like, we can't just come back in a week. It's like, okay. So so they give us a Humvee for this week, and they give us a newer Humvee in that. So that's what we ended up with when we got hit. But starting out the deployment, we had a Max Pro, which we'd have been fine in. But so we get this Humvee, and then we end up going back to Echo's Paws. On the way back, we break our tow straps trying to help a civilian vehicle who got stuck in the sand. So it was like, yeah, looking back now, it's just like, holy shit, like, how do we even, like, there was just so much shit working against us, it felt like. But Yeah, I remember that morning just like waking up. I wrote some letters back home. Then we headed back to Echo's Paws and broke that strap. So once we finally got to Echo, there was like a little wadi or drainage ditch that our other section had found an IED on the day before. So my truck, and I want to say the first truck or the set, no, it was my truck and the fourth truck because it was Spalding and Rodney and forget who else. But they were behind us. So my truck and Dan's truck behind us set up security while truck 1 and 2 pushed into Echo. Pushed into Echo, and then another one of our sections sent out 2 trucks to relieve us. So they came out, they relieved us, they set up security there. We went back into Echo, and then the other section was going to take their 2 trucks and leave. Once we get into Echo, our first truck, and it's just like, I feel like this all sounds so confusing because there's just like so much shit. But our first truck, which was our only MRAP now, or a Max Pro, was slipping into one of the canals that was right in Echo's Paws. So now we don't have any tow straps, and the tow straps are on the 2 trucks that just relieved us. So it was like, well, shit, we need to get these guys out of here before we lose our fucking third truck, in a week's time. So we were losing trucks left and right. It was crazy. But so we ended up coming in. I think my truck was first, then Dan's truck was right behind us, and we flip around and we do like a 3-point turn, and then we were going to let Dan's truck go in front. But then I remember Zaros just being like, go, just haul ass, they'll catch up to us. So we haul ass, and they start, they're behind us. And I remember seeing the crater from the week before when we got hit, and we already had a bunch of trucks pass us. I remember seeing the crater and just thinking, holy shit, we're flying. I'm going to get bucked out of his gun if I don't, I was the gunner. I was like, if I don't hold on, I'm going to get bucked out of his gun. So I remember kind of tensing up, putting my leg on the radio and like grabbing the handles as we're like going over this. And as soon as we hit it, it just went black. Like that was like, everything went black. And then I remember like, you like being on a roller coaster, like sudden drops where you're just like, you feel like the drop in your stomach and your nuts, and then you're just like, oh shit. You're just like, I felt that like feeling, but everything was black. And I was like, I was like, why does it feel really weird? I was like, what is going on? Like, I can't see anything. I was like, what is the deal? And then I just remember like, kind of like the smoke, like literally clearing in that, and just like laying on the ground and just like kind of in a daze for a second. I was just kind of not really understanding what was happening. I was just like looking around. I'm like, I was just in a Humvee. I was like, why aren't in a Humvee? I was like, this doesn't make sense. And then I like realized, your ears are ringing. It's just like super loud, and it's disorienting. And you're like, I'm just trying to figure out what's going on. I was like, holy shit. I was like, we just got hit. I was like, we just got hit. So I start like, I go to stand up is the first thing I do. And like put my arms up to stand up, and I like my legs just give out. Like my left leg was pretty beat up. I know I fractured like a talus in there, and just like pretty much destroyed my entire ankle. And then my right leg was pretty mangled. And I just kind of remember like looking and being like, holy shit, like this isn't good. So I like right away, I looked at my flak, and I was looking for my tourniquet, and I couldn't find anything. Like everything had been blown off. I couldn't really see much because I took like some shrapnel to the eye. So like, it was just all kind of like a haze. And then I remember being like, this isn't good. Like, I remember having like a moment of panic where I was like, I'm going to get kidnapped. I was like, they're going to come and grab me. Like, I need to get the fuck out of here. Like, what do I do? Dude, I'm telling you, man, it was like, they're going to start shooting. I was like, and I'm going to get kidnapped. I was like, I know it. So I'm like trying to look around, and I start grabbing dirt and rocks, and I'm like throwing it. And I'm like, I'm over here, I'm here. Like, you guys come grab me or something. And I couldn't tell you how far I was from the truck, but I know I was a good distance. I remember seeing like my turret probably like 10 meters from me, like the entire turret that's probably like 800 or 900 pounds just laying in the dirt next to me with everything. So it was like, I'm sure I got blown pretty good. We got hit with like 100 pounds of explosives.
Damn.
So I remember just being there, and I remember after like doing all that and just kind of like trying to figure out, I had no rifle, I had nothing near me, you know what I mean? So it was like, I remember Baker and Carter, two boots who come up to me, two boots who were 52s who picked up corporal that I've got to like call corporal, but are my boots. You know what I'm saying? It's like weird, but they, you know, they come up to me and I was like, get the fuck away from me, boots. You know what the fuck you're doing. You know? And they just start like dying. And I'm like, no, seriously, don't fucking touch me. You know, so but you know, they start doing the first aid and training kicks in and I remember Spalding getting up to me and I don't think Rodney was there. I think he was in the gun still. But I remember just everybody getting up to me and just kind of like, you know, now just kind of like feeling relieved, not really feeling any pain, just kind of like, I don't know, it was just super weird. Just, I was awake for everything. Like, I felt like I was coherent, but like everybody starts doing all the medical attention. Castle comes up to me, you know, and everybody's up there and these two boots did put the tourniquet on wrong. So Castle re-put the tourniquet on. Yeah. You know, Castle re-puts the tourniquet on and then it puts like another one on and then dude, it was a shit show, man. It wasn't tight enough, you know, so they're like, we need to set your leg, we need to put your leg in a splint or whatever, my left leg. And I'm like, okay. So they're like, all right, we're gonna have to grab you. And I just remember like screaming like I don't know. I don't know how it sounded to anybody else. To me, it sounded like the most terrifying scream that I could ever imagine. You know what I mean? And then I just like stopped on a dime. And I remember Spalding being like, Davila. I was like, what? He's like, oh, I thought you left, buddy. I was like, where the fuck am I gonna go? Like, you know, I remember being irritated. And at this time my eyes are covered because, you know, I took some debris there and I couldn't really see. So I like cover them for, you know, and then I remember somebody saying something that was just like super annoying. And I was like, who the fuck is that? Tell him to shut the fuck up or something. It was like, hey, it's Davila, it's Lieutenant Phillips. I was like, oh shit, I'm sorry, sir. And, you know, he's just like, it was just relieving knowing that everybody was there and that everybody knew what they were doing at that point. But yeah, it was pretty wild, man. I remember laying there and, you know, my eyes were covered at the time and just kind of going back and forth with the guys and talking to them and, you know, Spalding just saying, hey man, you're going home and, you know, things like that. And then I remember hearing screams, like somebody screaming. And I found out later that it was Parr. He like shattered his shins or something like that and was up and walking and like the dude, I don't even know how he did it, but he was up walking and just like screaming and stuff. And I remember hearing like moans and that, and then just asking who that was. And then them telling me that's, you know, Zaros, and then hearing more moans and they're like, oh, that's, you know, that's Lasher. And just kind of waiting. I remember Dale being there and I remember him calling in the bird and stuff like that or relaying it. I know he had a part of it, but I kind of remember everything that happened that day. And then just, yeah, the bird, I felt like the bird took forever, but I guess it took like 30 minutes or so. But got there, picked us up, and yeah, it took me out to Dwyer maybe. I think I was there for like a day or two. They got me settled, stable in that. I remember, oh yeah, so I had my plate carry on me, and then Baker unclipped it, or someone unclipped it and like threw it over, just like unclipped one side and threw it over, and then dislocated my shoulder while all that went on. Yeah, so it was like, dude, it was wild, man. So like I remember my shoulder being the most pain that I had, and I remember Spalding telling me, I was like, how's it look, dude? I was like, tell me. He's like, you want me to be honest? I was like, yeah. He's like, dude, it looks like your leg looks like an S, you know, and talking about my right leg. And then I remember getting on the helo helo, like it was JP or PJs. And I actually, which is crazy, I met those PJs who picked me up out in Jackson Hole of all places randomly one year. And we started talking. Dude, it was crazy. We started talking. They were like, that's our other fucking team. And then we ended up going out later and I got to meet all those guys. Dude, it was nuts. But I remember getting picked up, getting in the helo and just like laying there and just thinking like, fuck, like, it was like not really honestly knowing what to think. It was just like, you know, just like, holy shit. So I get in and I asked like one of the guys, I was like, how's my leg look? Like, what do you guys think? You'd be able to save it? And he's like, I don't know, man, but it's below the knee. And I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, you know, you don't know about things until you have to experience them or you find interest in them. You know what I mean? So like below the knee for me, it was just like completely shocking. But now fast forward, you know, 11 years, it's like, holy shit, I got lucky compared to some guys. But yeah, I remember getting back to, I think it was Dwyer, and it being brand new, and there was no flight deck or anything, so it was just like gravel. Like my eyes were covered, but I remember being on the litter and getting rolled through, and it was like the most uncomfortable fucking litter ride I've ever been on. This is just like every bump and like rock that they hit, and it was like my shoulder was dislocated, and I was just like bouncing. I remember getting in there and they get me on, and I met the corpsman who received us in Afghanistan, who received us off of the bird. I ended up meeting him in DC. He was x-raying me one time and he was like, dude, I remember you guys coming in and there was two of you and blah, blah. But it was wild, man. I've had a couple stories like that. But yeah, I get into the hospital, I guess, where I was, and they put like oxygen on me. And I was like, before they put it on, I'm like, I'm starting to feel pain. Like, you guys need to put me out. Just like put me to sleep. Like, I'm ready to go. Like, do what you got to do. Wake me up when you're done, you know, that type of deal. And they put oxygen on me. And I remember pulling it off and being like, is this gas to put me to sleep? I was like, because I was like, I need pain meds. Like, I remember doing that. And then just like completely, like, that was the last thing I remember. And I guess I flatlined like once or twice. And then, yeah, that was kind of last thing I remember. And then waking up in the hospital, which was like a squad bay. I remember being the only one in there, and it was like completely terrifying because everything that just happened, it's like, was it real? Like, I have no fucking clue. Am I alive? You know what I'm saying? It's just like things like that. So I remember waking up being the only one in this creepy, like hospital. I felt like, you know, like a Chernobyl hospital. Like, you're the only one in there, only survivor, you know. It was like just super eerie. And I wake up and there's this Haji just in there fucking mopping the floor. Like, and I like look over and I was like, what the fuck? And I started screaming. I was like, get him the fuck out of here. Some female nurse comes in and she's like, what's going on? I was like, he needs to get the fuck out of here. I was like, I don't want any fucking Hajis in here right now. I was like, while I'm in here alone, I don't want any of these motherfuckers. And she's like, oh, no, we get it. And so, yeah, so I remember being in a hospital and then waking up, and it might have been the next day. We got hit on July 23rd of 2009, and it might have been like the 24th or 25th or something like that. But we're waking up and being there, and then like asking for a phone, and just being like, holy shit! Like, well, you know, I woke up, my legs missing for one. You know what I'm saying? And I already kind of prepared for it, you know, which was kind of weird. Like, I don't know, just being us, like, it was just kind of like, if I make it out of like an IED or something like that and I lose a limb, like, that is the least of my worries, you know, like, as long as I make it out, you know. And is actually that day we went back to QRF, I remember sitting there with all those guys while we were sitting on Delhi for that week between us getting hit. But we were sitting there and being like, if I lose a limb, like, I was like, I want it to be a leg. I was like, I feel like you can hide it. Like, you'll be able to hide it better, you know? Like, just like, that was my mentality at the time. I didn't understand it. But, you know, fast forward, like, you know, a week later, we get hit and I lose a leg. And it was just kind of like, okay, I already kind of thought about this, you know? So I never really felt like that ever bothered me, but it was like, holy shit, I got to call my mother right now. You know, it was like kind of like, how do I lead off? You know what I'm saying? Like for me, if I was talking to any one of you guys, it's no problem. Like I'm an idiot, you know, we're gonna be idiots. I'm gonna make jokes, do whatever. But it's like, damn, now I gotta call my family about a really serious situation that they've already found out about too. You know, and they have no clue what's going on. So yeah, just being at the hospital and laying there and you know, my legs missing, just being like, all right, well, I gotta call my mom. So I call my mother and she's a very emotional Spanish woman who, as soon as, you know, I would call in Iraq, you know, and she would, as soon as I'd pick up, she'd pick up the phone, she'd start crying, you know. So it was like, now I'm calling her out from a hospital in Afghanistan, but she immediately starts crying. I'm like, you got to pass me to somebody who can talk. I'm like, you know, I'm alive, I'm good. Like, you guys, like, I'll be back soon. You guys, you know, pass me to somebody, you know, who I can speak with. So I think my whole family was there, and I think I talked to one of my cousins and talked to my family and stuff. But yeah, it was just that whole time was just kind of a little weird because you don't ever train for any of that. No one trains you for, okay, after you get hit, all your gear is wherever the fuck it's gonna go. You're going to a completely different place. Like, you know that they're gonna call your family or they're gonna send people out, but you don't know the process of like what you've got to go through. So I mean, I got hit on the 23rd and I got back to the States on the 28th, which is really quick. But I remember getting there and then being in Afghanistan afterwards for like a day or two and then getting sent to Germany. I remember in Germany just being like super irritated at that point and just like tubes coming out everywhere and just uncomfortable pain, you know. And now I'm like away from everybody. And that was my main thing. It was like, okay, I got hit. I'm gonna be back. Like, you know, guys were getting hit and going back to base and then coming back. You know, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna be back. Like, I figure I can make the last part of deployment. Like, I'll just go back to the States and I'll get a leg, I'll get therapy, and then I'll be back before deployment's over. And it was like not the case. You know, I spent 3 years at the hospital, but but yeah, you know, it was wild. But getting to Germany and sitting there and I remember being there and just this nurse, I don't, a full blown nurse, so she had to be an officer. You know, it was like, I remember just like an older lady and just being like, "Oh, come on, honey," and calling me dear and all these like little like names. And I'm like really irritated. I'm away from everybody. I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing. And it's like, I was like, she's like, "Let's get it. You'll feel better if you take a shower and blah blah blah." I was like, I don't want to be moved. Like, I'm just so uncomfortable, you know, and just kind of like snapping at him, be like, "Listen, bitch, like, leave me the fuck alone. I'm a man. Like, I'm not gonna, you know, yeah." I'm like, I'm not gonna fucking sit here and be called honey and baby. I was like, get the fuck out of my room. I'm tired of shit. Like, I don't need to be babied right now, you know. And there's like these two younger corpsmen who are stationed there in Germany. And they're like, oh my God, she is such a bitch to everybody. And that was great, you know. And it's like, but I did that and they were like, Obama's coming through for your Purple Heart Obama's coming to the hospital. So do you want to wait a couple extra days so he can give you a Purple Heart? And I'm like, nah. I'm like, a Marine's gonna give me mine, so send me back to the States. So yeah, I remember I think being in Germany a couple of days and then getting on a plane and like it's not a luxury like medical plane. Like I'm in a C-130 with 20 other dudes that have been fucked up. And there's also, you know, it's also like hero flight. So there's active duty with their family in there. You know, I remember we're stacked, you know, like you would see in movies and like, you know, like Saving Private Ryan and stuff. We're just litter stacked. It was like, I was like the third litter up of just like dudes who were just fucked up for whatever reason. I remember like looking down and there was a family there and I don't even know if this is real to this day. You know what I'm saying? I had so many drugs pumped through me, but like talking to his family and just being like, I remember the family saying like their like 4-year-old son or 5-year-old son had like leukemia. I remember just being like, holy shit, like it just hit me. And I was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. And they're like looking at me as I'm like tubes everywhere, just like my face is probably mangled from, you know, getting blown up. I've got probably just blood and just everything everywhere. And they're like, no, like you've got way more stuff going on. But yeah, it's just like a C-130 with no insulation, nothing. So it was like the most uncomfortable ride you'll ever take. I remember waking up and as soon as you wake up, the nurses are there to just give you another shot to put you back to sleep. So, you know, I couldn't tell you how many times I woke up, how long I was on that flight. But I remember getting back to Andrews Air Force Base and then taking an ambulance from there to what was at the time Walter Reed. And then from there, it was like my family was there. I got in, and then like every other day it was surgery, like cleaning out wounds. My left leg was like just destroyed, like my ankle was destroyed. You know, my right leg was gone. I had one of those big halo X fixes on my ankle. You know, I was in a lot worse shape than what I thought I was, you know, and it was just like, holy shit, like I don't know if I'm making this deployment, you know, if I'm gonna make it back. But yeah, getting back, it was like 2 weeks inpatient and surgery like every other day, cleaning out wounds. And then it was just kind of like physical therapy started immediately. Like they were after my last surgery, they took me into the physical therapy area, and they were like, yeah, this is where you'll come. We'll set up an appointment, blah, blah. And, you know, not even knowing what's going on at that time, that I set up an appointment for the next morning to start physical therapy. And the doctor came in, she's like, where were you? And I was like, I thought you guys were just telling me, you know, like this is how it's going to work. She's like, no, physical therapy starts now. So it was like immediate. I did all that. And I think when they were showing me around the physical therapy area, there's a rock wall. And I was like, oh, I want to do the rock wall. And they're like, oh, you can't. I'm in a wheelchair. They're pushing me around. I don't have a leg. My leg's, you know, my leg's super swollen. My other one's in the X-Fix and that big old halo thing. And I'm like, no, I'm going to do this rock wall. And they're like, all right, you know, I don't think they were thinking I was going to be able to do it. And I literally, from the bottom to the top, climb all the way up with just my arms, and then climb all the way down, like not strapped in. And they were like, okay, you cannot do that again. Like you've got to like tone it down. You know what I mean? So
you're too motivated.
Dude, it was
be a little bit more victim, please.
Yeah, seriously, dude. But yeah, it was a cool therapy experience. You know, I feel like that's really when I got to understand and learn about like the human body and like, you know, more specifically my body and then like what I'm capable of. Like I remember being there, and it was like one of my first weeks and seeing this Army guy who had been there for, you know, months and is already through therapy, and he's got his leg. And I remember seeing him doing box jumps. And I was like, in my mind, I was like, how am I going to jump with a prosthetic? Like, I remember just thinking like, there's no way. I was like, this dude is doing something way more than I'm going to be able to do. And it's, you know, it was wild thinking of it and seeing it and just be like, just thinking that was out of my grasp. You know what I mean? Like, and now fast forward, I'm, you know, I go backcountry skiing where it's all man powered, you know, and I do, you know, I work out and, you know, snowboard and do things like that. But dude, at that time, it was crazy, man. It was hard to see the finish line. You know, it was just like, okay, well, when am I going to be able to start walking? You know, when am I going to be able to like be independent? And, you know, for me, I felt like it happened really quick. I just kind of stopped listening to doctors. You know, they would give me like, dude, they would give me, they give me Percocets and like monthly supplies of Percocets. And they, you know, I would, at first it was great. I'm a kid. I think this is great. We're hanging out. We're fucking taking Percocets. We're going out and partying. You know, it was like after I've got an apartment out of town and stuff. And, you know, it was like a cool deal. And then it's like, holy shit, like it's noon and like I feel really sick, you know? Why do I feel sick? And I take a Percocet and I feel good. And I'm like, oh man, like this is like, I knew right away. I was like, this is bad news. I was like, I need to take care of this. So I like flushed all my Percocets and then told them like, hey, I don't need any more pain meds. And they're like, oh, well, you've got, 3 more prescriptions, so just fill those. And I'm like, nah, So it like, I can see, that situation, seeing guys who struggle, and, seeing guys like Painter and dudes like that, and Blankenship, who, that addiction turned into, eventually an overdose or suicide or something. It was just like eye opening. But I did that whole time at the hospital, and I went a year and a half past my contract, and it was pretty cool. They offer a lot of stuff for vets. I didn't do much. I felt like I wasn't the guy that should be doing this stuff. They're sending guys like Super Bowls and get to like basketball games, to go courtside, and all these like fancy trips, and I just never signed up for anything. I was just kind of like, I was in that mode where I was like, I'm a senior dude. I want to get the fuck out. Like, I'm at the hospital. I don't have a platoon. I don't have anything. Like, I just want to be on my own deal, So yeah, that it turned in a lot of partying for a while. For a while, it was fun though. But yeah, I got hit in July by, I did physical therapy every day until like January of 2010 or so. I got my first leg like right in November, December of 2009. Started walking on crutches. That was another thing where it's like, you get your leg, and the first thing they tell you is like, you don't get to keep it. Like, we don't want you going home with it, trying to stand up and trying to walk and do stuff. Like, you're not strong enough. And I was like, okay. So I got my leg, and then I took it in therapy. I tried it on, and I may have a couple pictures of me like with my first leg and standing and stuff. And then like I go to leave, and Kyla, who was my therapist, she's like sees me walking on my leg, and she's like, are you gonna take that with? I'm like, yep. And that was like really it, man. Seriously, that was it. It's like I had my leg, and I was gonna be damned if I was gonna sit in a wheelchair any longer, man. I was on crutches when I went to the memorial. I was on crutches. That was another thing for me. It was like, I can't go to the memorial and be in a wheelchair in front of these guys. You know what I'm saying? I was like, I can't do that. Like, I can't show up, and I got to be pushed around by somebody. I was like, I'm going there, and I'm gonna stand at attention. I'm gonna be part of the memorial. I'm gonna be in it. It's not gonna, this isn't gonna affect me. So, dude, I got my leg like November. I checked myself out of therapy by February, and then I was living on my own and just kind of caught in limbo at the hospital. It was like, when I first got there was maybe 30 Marines who were injured, and like three Marines who were staff members. And then by that following summer, man, it was like 150 Marines, like 30 staff members. And then over that 3 years, by the time I left, it was a full-blown company office. Like, we had master guns, we had a first sergeant, there was a company commander. They used to hold formations. You'd be out there, dude. You want to talk about fucked up formations? You'd be out there, there'd be guys missing limbs, in wheelchairs, standing in formation at 6 a.m. Bro, I'm telling you, Hyman was paralyzed. They would make that dude go to formation. Like, dude, they made Hyman take a piss test one time. That's how Marine Corps it got. But, in hindsight and seeing it now, it's like, I wish, they told you, they said, hey, you're going to go to school, or you're going to do an internship, or you're going to work in office. And I said, absolutely not. I'm not doing anything here, So I did nothing. And I really wish I would have did school or something like that, or, I made some more connections with, a job or something. But yeah, I mean, I can't complain. My time at the hospital was fun, man. Like, spent it seriously just partying. I had dudes coming who were getting out of 2-8 at the time that were driving up from North Carolina, to drive home wherever. They'd come hang out for a weekend or something, So it was great. I got to hang out with a lot of dudes and then go down to Lejeune and hang out a couple of times. But yeah, the whole experience is just wild, man. And it catches me off guard today, seeing where I'm at now. You know what I'm saying? Like, seeing mentally where I'm at now, physically where I'm at now, like, just how it is, and you know, I do think it's because of my injury. Like I'm more active now. You know, it's like it completely changed my life. I don't know if I ever would have gotten into snowboarding or hunting or, you know, any of these things I do outdoors. I'd probably be back in Chicago, you know, a cop. You know, and it's funny, and I still had opportunities to be a cop, and I took the test in Chicago and stuff. And, you know, just at the end of the day, it was like, I'm done, man. Like seeing everything that's going on, like, I don't want to get shit on by other Americans. You know, I did it while we were deployed. Last year, I wanted to get deployed to some part of my city where I'm getting shit on by those people. You know, but yeah, man, I mean, it was a hell of a ride. And I think coming out of it, you know, it's made me a stronger person, you know, in like every sense. I feel like it's made me a better person, you know, and it's made me appreciate more and open my eyes up more, you know, especially with everything that we've got going in today's world, and, you know, and people hating each other because you want to wear a mask or you don't want to wear a mask. It's like, man, you know, like we're going to be fine, you know, and, you know, just going through that hard times, and that was like, it was just like real humbling, you know, and it makes you want, at least for me, it made me want to like pursue more things that I didn't know were possible for me, if that makes sense.
Yeah, for sure, man. I appreciate you sharing that. I think, you know, obviously if anybody's listening that don't know, that IED that took your leg did also take the lives of two Marines that Dom was speaking of, Jeremy Lasher and Nick Zaros. I can never
Zaros,
say
yeah.
Zaros, I can never say his name.
Zaros, yeah.
But
I ended up yeah, I ended up out there. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah. After I got out of the hospital, and I ended up moving up to the Cape and lived with Nick's family for about a year. It was awesome, man. Got to hang out with them, see a completely different lifestyle that I grew up in, you know. But yeah, you know, like I said, like I wouldn't have had those experiences without, you know, having, you know, that one experience. But, you know, like you said, yeah, like Jeremy and Nick, like, you know, is going back to the hospital and after getting hit and being in Afghanistan, I remember laying there and just the first thing I said, you know, to the nurse, I was like, where is everybody? Where's Parr and Lasher and Nick? And she was like, oh, they're in another squad bay, you know. And that was like the story I got for the first couple hours. And then I felt like I kind of got to run around as far as like getting the phone and that. But yeah, then come to find out that Lasher had died immediately, you know, and I didn't know that until, you know, a day or two later, and then finding out that that Nick had died later on from internal bleeding. Yeah, it was wild, man.
Was the IED driver's side?
Yeah. So from what I've heard, and it was a pressure plate, and that it would I guess it was all on the driver's side, because, you know, not getting into too much detail, but, you know, they're looking for Lasher for a bit. I remember Nick being in his seat still. I think, you know, like he got blown out of the Humvee, and he was still sitting in his seat, still coherent in that. And then I actually got the opportunity last year of hearing from Matt Gabriel, who was there, and just his perspective and his views on everything. And he was one of the first ones up to Nick and that, but it was, you know, a lot of stuff that I forgot, and a lot of stuff that I guess I didn't even know. But yeah, man, I think those dudes, and like meeting their family and meeting, you know, everything that's come out from it, it's like it's that bond, you know, that we're circling back to. It's like it's unfortunate the way this bond was formed, you know, but it's like, I absolutely love everybody that's come in contact with, you know, on that trip that I drove out with Rose. We got to stop. We stopped in upstate New York, and this is the first time we got to see Lasher. First time I've been there, and I've been wanting to go. So we went and saw Jeremy, and we met up with his wife and his son, Caden. It was crazy. It was the entire trip was a good trip, and then we get to New York, and I don't know. You guys been to upstate New York? Like
I've been once.
It's pretty. You know, it's really pretty, and there's trees, and it's like really overgrown and like old school looking. And we get to Lasher's where he's at. You know, we get to his cemetery, and it is like one of the most gorgeous cemeteries I've ever seen. Honestly, man, like there's just old school like headstones, and just like it's overgrown, and just like it's really rainy and everything's real bright and green. I live out in Utah now, so everything's just flat. It's the desert, you know, there's not a lot of color, and just getting out there, and it was raining, and it was just an awesome experience being able to sit there. We sat there for like a couple hours with Andrea and talking with her, and getting to hang out with Lasher finally, and seeing all the guys he's around and stuff, you know. And then from there we went up to the Cape and we did the ride, and that got to hang out with Nick. But yeah, man, it's crazy to look back on it. It's crazy to talk about it, you know, not in a sense of like I don't like talking about it. I feel like, you know, I tell civilians this all the time. If anybody wants to know, like I'm not gonna say no. I'm not gonna not tell you. Like if you're interested enough, if you're taking the time out to ask me, then, you know, I'll tell you, you know, as much as you'd like, you know, within reason. That, but you know, I think we do. I think for us, you know, as this war of veterans, you know, in Iraq and Afghanistan, I think for us, just having social media and that, it really helps and gives us an outlet to be able to connect and kind of like get it off your chest. Like it's different when I'm speaking to civilians versus when I'm speaking to you guys. You know what I'm saying? It's like the picture I have to paint for you guys doesn't have to be so vivid. You know what I mean? Like you guys know, like you understand the smells and the sights and everything, but you know, talking with civilians, it's like I want to be as detailed as I can, so you do understand. Like I wasn't fighting for your rights, for your freedom of speech. I was fighting because these are the dudes that were there. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what we're doing. Like I was there because of you guys. You know, I wasn't there on a special mission to save America. It was like I know where to go. This is where I went, and the dudes I met were like the guys I would, you know, give my life for, you know, obviously. And it's really cool being able to like reflect on those times, you know, especially hearing everybody's views and like where you guys were out there and your stories. Cause I know, you know, there's stories that intersect that, you know, that other people from other, you know, companies that are involved in, you know, so it's like, it's really great reconnecting with dudes, honestly.
Man, I think especially for you, for your instance, just being on the outside looking in and kind of knowing what you've been up to over the years, you know, just with your CrossFit, and you're always doing something, dude, just adventuring and shit like that. And I think a lot of the guys' families, especially, you know, Lasher and Nick, like their families being able to see you live that way, that probably does a lot for them.
Yeah, you know, like I, you don't think about it. Like, I feel like you don't think about like, oh, how much we've done for each other. You know what I'm saying? As far as like that, you know, the stuff that's not tangible, that you can't see and feel and stuff. You know what I mean? But it's like after living on the Cape, and I moved away from there, then going back down to North Carolina for a bit. Being removed from Cape Cod and Nick's family, like it was like, wow, like I didn't realize that hanging out with his sisters, his twin sisters, or his brother, or just like hanging out with his mom all day, and you know, on the weekends or doing whatever, it was like wow, like that really felt good when I got out. You know what I'm saying? It didn't feel like oh, what am I going to do? Like, you know, it was like, we were there for each other, but it wasn't like anything spoken. It wasn't like anything that we were trying to do. It was like, we were just there, you know, and I really appreciated that time. And it was like living with them. Like I learned so much, like, you know, and they're amazing people. And then dude, hanging out with Lash's family and getting to meet his son a few times. And I met him, dude. I met him. So I did a CrossFit event in Phoenix. And then I met Andrea and them were out there. So I met them up and we went out to eat. And then I could see him, like, I could see Kaden talking to his mom and be like, hey, you know, like asking her whatever. And she's like, well, why don't you ask him? And he goes, hey, Dom, he's like, he goes, why did you make it out of the IED and my dad didn't? You know what I'm saying? And it was like, this kid's, you know, 9 years old, maybe. I don't remember the time. It was like a kid to have that thought, you know, it was just like real, just like, holy shit, you know, maybe like take a step back and just like kind of like see what's going on in his mind and stuff, you know? So it's like that whole like experience made me feel like, okay, like this, you know, it's obvious that it's a major part of somebody's life. But, you know, I'm not the only one thinking about it every day. You know what I'm saying? Like you know, this kid has to see it, you know, his father's pictures and videos instead of his father. So it's like being able to do stuff and see like, hey man, like we're going to hang out soon. Like hopefully they're coming out here to do some national park trips and stuff. But just like seeing like, dude, don't worry. Like you're going to have that male figure in your life. Like, you know, I'll be there whenever I can. And I know there's 10 other dudes that are going to be there whenever they can, you know? And it's like, it's really great because if I would have had that happen to me and I had a child, I would hope, you know, that would be the experience that my child was going to go through as well, you know? So, but the families are tough, man. I at least for me, it's wild, you know, it's really wild. It's, seeing everybody growing up and, you know, Nick's family, I met his sisters when they were like 15 and now they're like 25 or 26. And actually, I think they're 28, but seeing how they've all grown too, you know what I mean? It's really humbling. And, you know, like you said, like them seeing me do stuff, like I would feel like I've done something wrong if I just sat around and did nothing, you know, or if I got depressed and, you know, took my life, I would feel worse doing that to, you know, the people who aren't here, you know, and their families and things like that. So it makes me, I mean, you know, it makes me want to continue to find new things that are going to push me, you know, and, you know, if anybody wants to join, I'm always willing to take anybody out, you know? So.
No, that's awesome, dude. And I mean, it's a testament to yourself and your character and what kind of person you are, you know, because a lot of people could fold under the circumstances that you were dealt. And, you know, it's just fucking awesome. You're killing life and you know, not letting shit hold you back. So what's been the most difficult thing to, you know, having to adapt to having your prosthetic? I mean, what took you what took you the longest to like get used to having to deal with that?
Used to? I think for me, so I'll tell you what the most annoying thing is. So getting up in the middle of the night having to take a piss. That's like, you know what I'm saying? That's like the most annoying. That's like, it's like, all right, well, do I want to spend the next 30 seconds putting on my leg and getting up, or do I want to just crawl and just like go and take a piss? The thing I feel like I've had to like get used to the most was mountain biking.
Oh shit.
It's probably been like, yeah, I jumped on a snowboard after I got injured and I never had any frame of reference for it. And I mean, I just felt like it was just kind of natural. I jumped into it and, you know, now I've been boarding for like 8 or 9 years. But I think mountain biking, but you know, it's awkward because you don't realize what when you get your leg, you don't realize what is weak on you. You know what I'm saying? What you're lacking until you stand up on your leg and you realize everything is weak on you. You know what I'm saying? Like you're doing therapy, you're doing stuff to strengthen your core and that. But when it comes to holding your body upright, it takes a lot of strength. You know, I remember getting up into upright bars and just like trying to hold myself up. Like even my arms felt weak, you know, after spending the last 6 months of not doing anything. I felt like walking was pretty good. You know, I walked with crutches for a bit, and then I went from crutches to like a walking boot, and then that was it. Been walking ever since, but I think everything I've done. So,
no, sorry to cut in on you. I just was interested because I think a couple years back I saw you getting like you went and got like fitted up for a new one or something.
Yeah,
you had made like posted videos of you at the clinic that was helping you with your new prosthetic or whatever. I thought that was pretty cool, and it just made me like think like how long those things how long does a leg last you? Like does it have a lifespan?
Well, they do and they don't. So the components of a leg is your socket, that the socket's fitted to make the fit is fitted to your stump and your residual limb. You know, so it's like they take a casting of it. It's almost like paper mache, you know, and then they pour a casting from that. And then they take the molding and they make your socket, which is what your leg goes in. And then there's the actual foot that you bought that, you know, for me, fortunate enough that the VA covers,
right?
But you get a foot. And so that foot can last you however long, however you treat it, you know, if that makes sense. Like I beat up mine pretty good and they last me. Like I'll be on the same actual foot for, you know, 2 years sometimes, you know, and not really, I'm pretty minimalist. I want stuff that's just easy to take care of. I'm in a bad country a lot. If I get out there and I've got to fix something, dude, it's not a good day. You know, so I try and get like, you know, the shit that doesn't have a ton of components of break, but so a leg will last you as long as you treat it good. A socket, like when you first get injured, your stump is huge. Like you're just holding a bunch of blood. It's swollen, you know, so it continues to shrink. You wear like these little like do-rags on your leg, they're compression socks that like, you know, gets all the fluid moving and stuff. So you keep shrinking. So your first set of sockets are just plastic sockets. They're just, you know, they mold them plastic. And then you have those until they feel like you've come to a volume that you'll stay at. So like when I was first injured, I would go through sockets probably every like 6 months or so, you know?
Right.
From the plastic ones, they do a carbon fiber that are harder, you know, really indestructible and, you know, not heat sensitive and stuff like that. So like the one I'm on right now, I've had over a year, probably close to 2 years now. And the one before that was probably 2 years. But from the time I got injured to the time probably until like 5 or 6 years ago, I was probably changing out sockets like every 6 months.
Damn.
And then the VA takes care of you, man. Like if they see that you're doing stuff, you see you're active, you know, they'll take care of you. So I've got a lot of like legs for activities and stuff. I got a running leg that I don't really use because I don't really like running. You know, I've got one that has a shock, Fox shock in it, like what you get on a mountain bike suspension. It's pretty dope, dude. I lift with it and then I snowboard with that one. I've got that one. I got my everyday leg that I walk on. I feel like I've got a couple of those workout legs because I keep wanting a snowboard boot, wanting a workout shoe. So I've got a couple legs, but they're all the same ones, you know. They all last me.
When you switch up legs, like say you want to go work out or something, is there like a adjustment where you have to like does it feel different than like your walking leg or?
Yeah, it definitely feels different. So like the one with the shock will give me actually I got one right here. The one with the shock will give, it's like an ankle. So it's like bending at your toe, you know what I'm saying? Bending at your ankle. Right. So like being able to get down on your toes. So when I walk on that, it's more of a flat, rigid heel. So when I hit that, it's really hard. And then when I step into the toe, it gives.
Right.
You know what I mean? And my walking leg is more of just like a soft heel with a rollover and then a little bit of a toe bounce, you know?
This is like a normal stride type
Yeah,
motion.
yeah, exactly.
Right.
And I've had they've set me up with stuff where it's like, do you want a leg with a microprocessor? And it's mechanical and dude, it's crazy. You're like, do you want one? It's mechanical and you got a battery pack and I try them out and they're just like, dude, it's too much for someone as active as me. It's like they're not fast enough for me. They don't keep up. But
and like you say, if you're out, damn, that's crazy, dude.
So it'll compress and I'll snowboard on that, and
that's sick.
Pretty legit. It allows me to do a lot more.
Dude, yeah, like you say, if you're off in the backwoods or whatever, you don't want all kind of gear to, you know, fuck up on you and ruin your trip or whatnot. But
yeah, you know how it goes being in the field and shit breaks down. Yeah. It's like it's never fun, man.
Dude, for sure. Well, fuck yeah, man. I appreciate you coming on here and talking to us, dude. Is there anything, you know, something interesting that I've been thinking about? We had a guest on one of it's a couple episodes back if you want to go back and listen to it, but one of Jose's compatriots, one of his brothers that at UNCW, he's the assistant director for the publishing creative writing.
Talking about Mike Ramos.
Yeah, so Mike Ramos was on here, and it was funny because during that episode, like I didn't realize until during the episode I checked my phone. I've been following this guy because he works with OAF Nation and shit, and he does like, you know, he writes articles that are kind of deep, man. They'll touch in the right spot sometimes if you want to check his stuff out. But I didn't even realize it was him that I was talking to, and come to find out, you know, I just told him that I appreciated his writing and whatnot, and he said, "Yeah, man." He said, you know, one thing about doing that is that if guys are struggling and they can take an article or something that I've written and they don't know how to communicate that to a family member or a loved one or somebody that they might want to let know, hey, look, this is kind of what I'm going through. This is what I deal with. They can just show them that article and say, look, read this. This is kind of how I feel. I think, you know, like this and like you telling your story, you know, hopefully your guys, you know, that you were with or anybody that knows you can be like, look, man, this is my fucking boy. I was with them, you know, and let them listen to what you just shared with us. And hopefully that, you know, will communicate everybody's story a little more. And that's kind of what we're just out here trying to do, man. I appreciate.
I love it, man.
Yeah,
absolutely, dude. Yeah. And I think that's great. Cause it's, you know, like, for me, dude, I get proud, man. Like anytime I see 2.8, I'm like, fuck yeah, 2.8, you know, like I get super proud, bro. Like anybody I see, or if I, you know, Flynn, who was killed with the Marsac guys who, you know, went down to Hilo. I see that and I'm like, that's fucking 2.8. That dude's 2.8. You know, I see different things here and there. I got a buddy I grew up with. He joined the Marine Corps and he's in DC now. He's made a career of it, but he's in DC now with 8th and I, not doing anything with 8th and I, just in support of them. But he just went on a hike around there and posted, you know, he went on a hike. I think he was on base. He's at Quantico now. So he was on base and, you know, just like the Crucible, they have like these placards of everything that's going on or everything that's happened in Marine Corps history and stuff. And 2.8 was one of them. It was interesting to me because I had no clue, but 2.8 was the first unit to have a black man as the battalion commander, I believe it was.
Damn.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. We were the first battalion to have that. And it was like one of the placards that was on this hike. I was like, 2.8, baby, that's right, 2.8. You know?
Dude, a funny story, man. I was in Target here. I live in Mooresville, North Carolina, but I was in Target and this was maybe 2012 or something. And I'm in Target, dude. And I see somebody wearing a fucking 2.8 hoodie it was a girl wearing a 2.8 hoodie. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, I'm like, damn, what? So I go up and it was like one of our, I forget, it was the front toward enemy one or something. And I'm like, how the fuck does she have this? Like, and I go up to her, I'm like, hey, I'm sorry to be, weird. I'm like, where did you get that hoodie from? And I was like, she was like, oh, my brother, this and that. And I was like, who's your brother? Or maybe it was his cousin. I'm not sure. It was Spalding's, one of Spalding's family members. He lives he's from Statesville. He's from Statesville, which is just north of me. And I knew Spalding because I was an assaultman, he was Echo or whatnot. And one of my senior guys in the assault shit. And I'm like, holy fuck, no way. Like, that was crazy. I never knew that. But yeah, I just saw it. I saw the 2-8 shit and I had to go talk to him. Like, what the fuck? How do you have this? It's a weird, it's a weird thing that unit.
It is
unit pride shit.
Oh, dude. And I feel like, I don't know, man. Like, I feel like it's almost like the Pelelu vets, like 2-8's like historical. Like, even before Iraq and Afghanistan, like we've been part of all those battles. You know what I'm saying? Like, nobody hears about 2-8. It's always like 1-5 and the Raiders, and like all these like random known units. But it's like, dude, 2-8's a shit, man. 2-8 really is.
Yeah, for sure.
Those social, sure, baby. Yeah.
But yeah, for sure.
I want to hear, what about you guys, man? Like, tell me what's going on with you guys. Let me break me down on the on the world of YouTube.
What are you doing?
Who, me?
Yeah.
I was looking for. Oh, never mind. I was just looking for something. I'm listening.
No, hey, no, what do you want to know?
So your guys is, I love the idea of the podcast, man. I love that it's the 2-8 guys. You know what I'm saying? I love seeing, I love seeing any one of us doing anything, that isn't sitting around and, being an asshole, so like seeing this and just, it's because we've got those guys, and those guys that we don't even talk to anymore. Like, you guys remember Fleming? You guys remember Simpson? Like, I haven't seen those dudes in fucking forever or heard from them. You know what I mean? It's like, it's unfortunate because as shitty as we were at that age and that time, I would still like to know they're doing good in that. You know what I mean? And seeing that that they have friends and they know people, but
right.
I don't know, man. Just I get it's like the whole pride thing. Like, when you guys are doing something, I'm doing it too. You know what I mean? That's what I feel like. And then I've seen you guys posting these. I was like, dude, this is awesome.
No, I mean, the idea, Jose can chime in, but the idea is just to, obviously those circumstances that we all went through together is not something that's ever going to leave you. And we do have, the combat veteran community has a epidemic with the mental health crisis and suicide, especially. I know every unit suffers from it. I mean, you can talk to any guy from any Victor unit and they got guys fucking making the wrong decision. But I think just doing this and talking to homies and talking to guys that you can that can relate to you with what you're going through can help a ton of people, whether they want to partake in it or not. Just hearing and seeing, just like you said, you see guys doing something and you're like, fuck yeah, this is sick. Like, it's not unless you're a shithead, like, it's not that hard to get hyped on one of your boys doing something productive, but that's kind of just what I'm about. I mean, Jose, this whole thing just started from me commenting on a post Jose made about hating fucking going and giving people money in his 2011 pump at a school and seeing kids that didn't realize that their lives were fucking screwed from the jump, and I commented on it and just said, good shit, bro, proud of you, whatever. And then he hit me up and was like, hey man, you want to talk? And then it just all kind of started from there. he obviously advocates for the veteran community a lot more than I do. But you know, this thing I kind of think is a good thing. We've had good feedback from guys in the unit. I mean, even guys outside the unit, he could tell you more on that, but it's not talking about shit and reminiscing about shit, I think can do a lot for people. So
I agree. Yeah. I tell people, you know, like I said before, like, if you want to know my story, I'm gonna tell you it, you know, like that's, you know, you're taking the time and I'm gonna tell you. And I've said it before. And I think the dudes who are more quiet and more reserved and, you know, don't want to talk about it, I think those are the, you know, my opinion, or from what I've seen, are the guys that you need to watch for, you know, and those are the guys that are struggling, but don't know how to relay that to anybody, you know. And so my wife is actually a psychologist. So when we first got together, it was like, we're together because you're doing like your dissertation on like fucked up bets, you know, and I'm your person for that. But but being with her over the last couple of years, she's really been able to explain it to me and explain mental health to me in a sense that in a way that I didn't understand, you know, and it really helped me understand what I was going through more, you know, and you know, the struggles that come along with it. And, you know, it's just, nobody teaches you this stuff, you know, nobody teaches your family how to act with your son coming home from war. You know, like when I got back, I was an asshole to my parents. Like I was fucking mean. I was rude. I was like, and it wasn't just them, it's everybody, you know, but it's like being my parents, I felt like taking it out on them was like the thing I should do or something like that, you know, but it was like, nobody educated me on PTSD and TBI. Nobody educated them. So it was a constant struggle, you know, and now 11 years later, I feel fortunate enough to be able to have that conversation and be like, hey, like I was really fucked up at the time. That had nothing to do with you guys. That was me, you know, and that was the shit that I was going through. And I want you to understand that that's not who I am or who I was. It's like, but you also need to understand and do your own education of what was going on. And I'm not just an asshole, you know, it's like, it's a lot, you know, it truly is, man. I know you guys have dealt with it, like coming home and like sitting in line at the bank or something. You're like, why is this taking so long? Like, you know, just like irritated, you know, but yeah, man, it was being able to like look back on it and talk with my wife and just understand and find new ways to, you know, express all that without having to get fucking hammered, you know, and then argue with people or just be drunk all the time, you know? So
yeah, for sure. Well,
yeah,
I mean,
on that note, the long-term goal, like this is in support of like, I'm writing a second book right now. It's called O3XX, The Hidden Language of Brotherhood and Intuition. And a lot of it deals with mental health reform, but not just any kind of mental health reform. And it also talks about how what I call the meta war paradigm is like how perpetual war is today, how we've transitioned into interstate strategic competition, right? Great power competition, how narrative warfare, medic warfare is literally undermining the entire mental health consciousness of the United States, and that a lot of these suicides and a lot of mental health issues are stemming from what is basically influence operations. This is psychological operations taking place today, and it's causing cortisol levels to spike. It's causing predispositions to come out, and it's literally causing the decline of the United States. And so with that, man,
that's why there's so many more cases now.
Yeah. So with that, I was telling Polly that, you know, the mission, my life's fucking mission now is to write a policy to introduce a new MOS to the Marine Corps called the O333, which is basically a warfighter that also has mental health credentials and it understands influence operations so that they can go ahead and cut off the fucking snake's head before it ever fucking pops up anywhere else. And also introduce mental health paradigm. So I
think that's great, man. That's great. Spalding's an athletic trainer for the Marine Corps now. You know what I'm saying? Like these are the routes that they're going, you know? And I think, dude, I think that's awesome. I think honestly having, you know, if you've got some athletic trainer there for your body, then you've got to have somebody there for your mental health too. Like, you know how it was when we were in, you get hazed, you go do your job, you come back, get hazed, you drink, wake up in the morning, you do it again. You know, it's like, you know, you don't understand how to deal with it at that age. You know, you're 19 years old, you go from, you know, especially kids who didn't grow up, you know, in circumstances where they had to deal with, you know, hardships like that. You know, you go through this world and you're like, oh, it's great and it's fine. And then you get tossed into the Marine Corps. And, you know, how do you deal with that? How do you mentally deal with it? How you have nobody to talk to, you know what I'm saying? You're talking to other guys who are the same age as you. Like, I think that'd be actually really helpful, man.
Yeah. No, I 100%, man. I tell Paulie too.
You have it on
like,
deployment too.
Oh yeah, 100%.
You know,
I was telling Paulie that honestly, DoD, Department of Defense, would have benefited with people having resilient skills. They would have been way more effective fucking fighters rather than fucking burning down and crashing down after either one or two pumps. I mean, just the longevity and the sustainment of just a regular fucking guy in operations would have been like that much longer. And it fucking baffles me that these are fucking, you know, doctors and fucking people in legislation at the Hill that run this shit. And it's like, why fucking spend these, you know, why spend billions of dollars? Why fucking max out these guys' lives when you could have had a fucking long-term fucking force willing to do fascinating for you and been fucking good to go? Like, it just fucking blows my mind. But here we are, you know, still in the fucking fight. And so I'm just fucking thankful. I'm thankful for fucking Paulie. I'm thankful for all the fucking 2A guys. I'm just thankful for the fucking support moving forward because, you know, this isn't about fucking me or what my fucking mission is. It's just, I'm just thankful that it's fucking, everyone gets to be a part of it. And then it gives us, you know, reinforces who we are, that identity, and that we're a part of this fucking larger narrative, which is fucking living life, quality of life, having quality of life, and then fucking paying homage to the fucking homies that ain't here today. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
I'm just fucking grateful, man.
Yeah, I hear that, man. I'm right along with you there, man. It's like, you know, I get people complaining about the VA a lot, and, you know, and I hear it. Like, I understand, like, the VA does have its issues, you know, and I try to explain, like, hey, man, like, I get a lot of medical care, you know, a lot more than the average veteran. And I'm like, you know, at the end of the day, my mental health care is what I make of my mental health care. Like, everything else, you know, they've been really generous and great with me. You know what I'm saying? As far as mental health, I think what I do for my mental health are, you know, all those activities and sports and stuff, you know, like I don't go to a typical therapy session. You know, I see a therapist like once every 6 months to check in and make sure I'm good to go. But, you know, I think it's finding what that is for everybody. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, some guys brew craft beer. You know, I like, you know, getting miles away from anybody with no cell service, you know. And I think I think there's a stigma with coming out and you're supposed to be this hard charging Marine and you're supposed to be a man and have everything figured out, and you can't ask for help. You know, you've got to do it on your own. You know, this is why some guys have gone homeless, you know. And it's like, you're never going to know what helps you or what works for you if you don't get out there and ask questions or try things, you know. And I think a lot of it is getting out of that comfort zone. You know, you see the guys that, you know, truly still like hold on to like being deployed and they love it. And, you know, and it's like, their Facebooks are covered with their pictures, and every time there's status updates, it's something about it. It's like, yeah, man. And I see that, and I understand, you know, that they're looking for something else, but they just don't know how to act on it. You know, I think starting while we're in and getting that, like you're saying, getting that mental health or getting that, just guidance would serve so much better for these guys. I mean, a 19-year-old, you see your buddy getting blown up. You can't like comprehend that. You can't make any sense of that. You don't understand. That completely changes you as a person. You know what I mean? Nobody's there to help you. And then, you do your little surveys when you get back from deployment and they're like, how do you feel? 1 to 5, and it's like, well, now I got to lie on this. Otherwise you're going to kick me the fuck out.
Yeah.
So yeah. Now I think you guys really got something going here, man, especially even if it's just 2-8 guys that are, that you're able to get involved with it, I think that's great. Like either way, just as long as we keep this going, with everybody, not just like the dialogue and communication, it's unfortunate what happened to Hamill, just to, the beginning of last year, and that it's, could we all have been there to prevent it, in some form, or could this outlet have helped him out for another week until he got, there's a million scenarios that run through your head. And, I think it's the first step is offering this platform to guys,
Yeah, no doubt. And I was going to, before you even said that, I was going to say, if you got any Echo or weapons guys that want to fucking come shoot the shit with us, they're more than welcome, man.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I was actually, so me, Bojo and Hayborn went down to Lake Powell a couple years ago and we met, and Doc Ordonez came. Dude, you guys got to get Doc Ordonez on. That guy, he was telling us some stories, man. Doc O's got some fucking stories. He's legally blind, pretty much. Yeah, that dude's he's got marks all over his shins and that from bumping into shit. Like, but
Damn.
Dude, he's a hardworking Mexican. He's in his 40s and he's like laying tennis court tops.
Oh,
you know what I'm saying? Like,
he's fucking blind or almost blind.
Yeah, that dude's
just still getting after it.
How thick are his glasses?
I don't. Does he wears glasses? I can't remember. Does he wear glasses? I don't know.
Does he drive?
Yeah, he drives.
Holy fuck.
So he's got to wear glasses, I guess. Maybe he had contacts. But dude, because when I was listening to your last podcast, you guys talking about, and it was 3.7, not 2.7 that we ripped with.
Was it?
In Ramadi.
Yeah, it was 3.7. No shit.
Okay.
No, you guys remember the water bull had 3.7 no shit on it at Camp Ramadi?
Yeah.
Was it 3.7?
I swore no, maybe you wait. Where was Echo at in Ramadi? You guys were
so during that whole split, I got sent to ECP North. But Echo was at Spartan. Echo's at Spartan and I forgot. I know they're at Spartan. They were at a couple others. But
you might be right. Either way, those guys.
No, it was definitely 3.7 because I remember me and Romero would always be like, "Yeah, 3.7, huh, Blue?" Like, no shit.
That's my bias. I put a 2 in every fucking unit.
Yeah, that's what it is. But yeah, I remember I was listening to him and you guys were talking about everything. We had that first IED that happened at the Gov Center. The first 2 weeks we were there, the first month we were there. And Daco was there and he was telling us some stories about it. Pretty hilarious. Yeah.
Well, yeah, man.
And tell them just a badass.
Yeah, tell him, holler at him if he wants to come entertain us for a while and fucking reconnect with the homies. I'm sure anybody in 2.8 would probably like to hear that shit. So
man. But and you guys are both still in North Carolina?
Yeah.
Cool. So yeah, I'm planning on going out for the memorial. Have you heard if they're going to do that one in Quantico still?
I thought they changed it.
They canceled that. That was supposed to happen when the pandemic first started.
Right.
And then I don't know if they plan to push it back to this year or not. I doubt it. It probably would get canked again this year for this year anyway. But yeah, because I was planning
so I
to
was
go.
like, I want to make it out.
Yeah, I was planning to go to that
on a
one.
Monday.
Well, I think they're doing it like that Saturday, the 28th or something.
No, Saturday the 29th from 11 to 1500.
Yeah.
I just gotta, dude, I gotta fucking figure out how I'm gonna get on base. I forget how to do all that shit.
Telling you're a Marine.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you wait? I don't know. Hey, somebody should figure this shit out and let us know. What do you got to bring your DD-214 or something? Do you?
No, remember when you went
to
go visit people? You just give your ID in that, right? You just go visit.
Yeah. I thought that's how it was.
I've got my retired ID.
I don't have that shit.
Yeah,
dude.
I don't think like the back gate. I don't think you'll be able to get in.
I got a VA card. That's about it.
I swear I'm a veteran.
yeah, I do. I got the one with the fucking braille on it.
This fucking hit up shoe, dude, man. He'll fucking get you on base.
Yeah, I feel so bad. I was supposed to. So when I was up on the Cape for Nick's ride, he had hit me up. He's like, "Hey, let me know when you're there," and I completely fucking forgot, dude, to hit him up. And then I missed seeing him, and then I saw Revor. I actually got to see Revor. Yeah.
That's my dude.
I love that dude, man. He's such a good dude. So we hung out with him, and then there was actually quite a few dudes. You guys want to hear a crazy story? So we go to see Lasher, and we're hanging out there, and it's just raining and stuff. And I look, and back behind, there's a couple of vets and like firemen around Lasher. And I look behind him, and the dude behind him is like a Vietnam vet or World War II vet. And he's got the same birthday as me, July 5th, whatever year. It's absolutely nuts. I was like, holy shit, that's crazy. So I'm with Rose, from Weapons. And he's like, damn, that's fucking trippy, dude. That's nuts. And then looks, and at the headstone next to him, it was Jared's exact birthday too. I was like, what the fuck, dude? The exact birthday, just whatever year it was that they were born, dude. It was nuts, man. I was like, and it's like stuff like that where I'm like, okay, the time I came to visit was the right time to come. You know what I mean? It's just like, I just had a couple, situations like that where it was just like, all right, I don't believe in it meant to be, everything's meant to be, but, definitely something was supposed to happen. So that just tripped me out. And then, those two MRAPs that I was telling you guys about earlier, they got stuck. I was on a snowboard, or I was on a ski lift out here a couple years ago. This guy had a Marine Corps sticker on his board, and I was like, "Oh shit, you're in the Marines!" Blah blah. Started talking to him. He was one of the fucking trucks that got stuck when Golf got their two trucks stuck. It was one of his trucks that got stuck. I was like, "Get the fuck out of here!" And then, there's another guy from 2-8 here. He moved to Texas. It was I forgot his name. But yeah, it's a crazy world, man.
For sure.
Are you guys going to church after this?
No.
Are you going to church?
I study the church, but I won't go to it. My old man's a pastor.
I think I remember that.
Yeah, he runs a men's shelter and stuff, but I've had enough church. I like studying it, I like studying religion and stuff like that, but it's
I gotta I bet, dude, and you grew up with it, so it's probably it's like probably like a lot for you.
Oh yeah, dude, yeah. Well, it saved our lives, growing up, and the community aspect of it, like the social gospel, the charity aspect of it, just saved our life. And then, I don't mind that stuff, but the dogmatism that comes with it, I think it's a bit, like it's very, very toxic to some degree. And life is too complex to put something into the specifically Judeo-Christian type templates that are, and there's just so much, arguing from the contextual analysis and historical analysis of some of these writers, like there's 2 Genesis stories, different authors,
how they're translated.
Yeah, it's nuts. Just finding out about how how you grew up, you know, I grew up, you know, with the Trinity, you know, the Father, the Son, the Holy Ghost, and that, you know, it's just so much in, like, and not only that, you know, it's like the Council of Germania, you know, the people that put the Bible together, and how the New Testament was formed. And then you end up finding out about all these like pseudepigraphias, where there's all these other extra canonical texts that don't ever make it into the Bible, that have like crazy fucking stories about giants and angel human hybrids. And dude, it gets fucking nuts, bro. And I can go all day about that shit. When it's all said and when I'm done with all this shit, dude, I'm gonna write science fiction. So I'm writing my nonfiction, I'm writing science fiction, and then I'm gonna go ahead and tap into my religious fantasy books, which I can't wait to fucking just.
Dude, that is awesome, man.
Yeah, dude.
Dude, so check this out. So I've always like kind of toyed with this idea, and I'm not like a book writer, but writing a book where it's like everybody's sea stories, like just whatever it is, like barrack stories, like things like that, just a bunch of short stories, you know, almost like your podcast. You're able to get all these guys submission, and then you put it into like a text, and it's like, holy shit, this is exact shit that we went through while we're in, you know what I mean? Always like something like that, like maybe, you know, just getting those stories on the paper, and just, you know, almost be like a Tucker Max for the Marine Corps.
If you want, man, I can write up a plan, and then I can present it to my boy Mike, and then we can fucking roll with a fucking like a series of poems and shit. Like my boy Jules.
That'd be legit.
Yeah, my boy Jules, he made it onto a couple. I think he made it on. I can't remember the book's name, but it's a series of poems.
No shit.
I just bought it the other day. It's called. I don't want to misspeak this shit because I follow these guys. I think they're like.
I thought that was the name of the book for a second. I was like, that's a cool title.
Yeah, it is. It's the Dead Reckoning Collective.
Yeah.
It's a bunch of like vets that just write like short stories or poems. I think most of it's poems.
That's cool.
Dude,
I love it, man. I love hearing about it, man. Like hearing dudes that have gone to college, that have started businesses, like whatever it is, man. I love seeing everybody getting after it, being adults, you know, seeing guys from 19 years old.
That's kind of something that we, you know, that's the best thing you could do for the boys, man. The ones that fucking didn't come back with us is just fucking just kill it, no matter what it is, dude. You know, just at least enjoy your life to the max, and fucking, you know, just be grateful. That's
how I feel, man. I think the experiences we've all gone through have made it so that I'm appreciative of just like everything, you know. It's just like being able to wake up, and so I look out my window and there's mountains, and it's like, all right, well, today I'm gonna go, you know, I'm gonna wake up at 6 a.m. I'm gonna be in the mountains, do a couple hours up there, come back, take a nap, and then I'm going to class later on in the day. You know, it's the experience we've gone through have really made everything else more enjoyable, you know, and it made me seek out more, I guess, and not just kind of settle, you know, and that's what, you know, like I told you, I see you guys doing it, I'm doing it, you know, like seriously, seeing 2 guys, dudes we know, just like hooking and jabbing, doing whatever they can, you know, making their mark anyway. It's like, dude, it's great, man. I told you, like, if I see somebody doing it, like, that's me too. Like, I started that business, you know, like, that's my podcast.
Fuck yeah. Dude, so I'm gonna end this on. I'm gonna end this kind of on a light note.
Yeah.
You went to war, and you're still considering being a fucking cop in Chicago.
Yeah.
That's fucking nuts, dude. I mean, and that's a different type of place. I mean,
dude,
I grew up just north of Detroit, but I saw that place turn to a shithole after my family moved down here. But I mean, Chicago's no different. Crime is a different fucking thing up there, boy.
Dude, it's crazy. My my dad does security at one of the hotels there, and during the riots and everything that were going on, he didn't stop working. You know what I mean? The hotel's still open and that.
Yeah.
And he's like, dude, and this was, you know, this is like the most stress I've been in forever, because my dad's got to be out there dealing with like in downtown where these guys are rioting and breaking shit open. And he was saying that literally everything, every business on that block had been broken into, destroyed, except for his hotel. And then across the street, there was like a pawn shop that there was like 30 dudes that were trying to get in, couldn't get into it. But it was like,
God,
you know, like how do you get, and I'm trying to get them out here to move now.
Yeah. Do you, so you said you still had family members that were police officers up there?
Yeah. I've got a cousin who's a cop, and then my cousin's husband's a cop. And then I've got an uncle or two that are still cops out there. Dude, it's, you know, it's from what I see and what I've, you know, what we've dealt with and stuff, is it's just, you know, you're working a job to get shit on by other people, you know, that you don't have the protection of leaving the States, you know, leaving the country and going back to your home. You know, you work in one part of the city, then you drive home. You know, and I feel like that aspect with as crazy as going on, just not knowing who's following you and stuff like that, but just dealing with bullshit every day. Like your entire day is chaos, you know, and it's now being older, it's like, man, I just want to be calm, like relaxed. I don't want to have to worry about, I don't want to deal with other people's shit. I don't want to deal with my shit, you know? So it really does. I'm thankful now that I'm not a cop, you know, that makes sense. You know, it's just like, it all happened for a reason, I guess, but I couldn't imagine dealing with that stress of being a cop with the shit that's going on now, with all these movements and protests and literally everybody hating cops. And it's like, it's a paycheck, man. Like at the end of the day, I'm not willing to get shot at again over, you know, 60,000 in a paycheck.
No, I was just fucking with you because I heard you say earlier, you're like, somebody told you that, hey, look, man, it's still not off the table. You could be a cop if you want. I was like, dog, why would you do that?
Well, I took the test back in like 2008 or something like that. And then I passed the test, but I submitted my orders instead of like a letter from my chain of command, and they disqualified me. Oh. And then I was like, I could have got a lawyer and fought it. And then I was just like, whatever, I'll take the test again if I really want to do it. But yeah, dude, I could imagine being a cop right now, man. I got it pretty made right now, you know, and dealing with other people's bullshit is not part of it. So
yeah, for sure. All right. Well, I'm going to X this out. Good talking to you, bro.